Place it in water. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
So much pain, life took us separate ways. Both did some hurtful things, but it's not over.
Shalom, shalom.
You know that we both care.
Come on in, brothers and sisters.
So can we forgive and forget? I need you here. Remember the ups and downs, the trials we've been through. See, there is no one on this earth who can replace you, my brother. Life is too short, don't hold no grudges. No grudges. You are my blood. We must forgive and love each other. No matter what life throws at us, we must
keep brotherly love.
We must keep brotherly love.
Searched high and low.
Searched high and low. Where did you go? Pick up your phone.
Come on.
Oh, brother, do you hear me calling?
I hear you guys. I hear you, man. I hear you.
See, I apologize. This bond will never die.
I remember.
Remember the ups and downs and trials we've been through.
Come on.
So I'll keep on, darling.
Come on, never give up on a brother.
I'll go till I get through to you, brother. Life is too short, don't hold no grudges. No grudges, brother. We must forgive and love each other. No matter what life throws at us.
We must.
We must, hey, we must keep brothers, not enemies. Let's come together for the family. Let's walk as one.
That's right. That's right. Let me take off these headphones real quick. Let's talk for a minute. Elder Godge, I'm Elder Rick Harshaw of the Gathering Christ Church. Good to be here in the UK with my brothers, my family. I mean, we started from just a handful of brethren, and there's a multitude that the Most High have multiplied with this truth since Peace FM.
Yes, sir.
We've come a long way and developed so many friendships, real brotherhood, and one of the rare churches I've seen in the world where the same exact people who were here from the beginning is still grounded in this work that began with such a small number of people. On top of that, we here also to say our final condolences to our brother Dwayne, bishop, brother, and really a spiritual luminary, okay, of the gospel, who spearheaded this work. I mean, he was even here, God, I think before you came.
Yeah, he was. I was the last one to join.
You was really the last one to come in, almost. And, you know, he stayed up night. He would call in, text, and the twins. And, you know, and I thought about it because, you know, if you think on how such a light was taken quick, it leaves you with many questions, to a degree where if you think on it, every time I think about it, it makes me want to do nothing at all when it comes to, it's so sad thinking about the brother that I try to do things to distract myself from it all.
Likewise.
You know, I try to keep myself busy because every time I think of it, think about the brother being taken. But I thought about it. Some of his last words when he spoke to his brother was like what? Have faith, brother. His last words were he told his brother to have faith, and he was the sick one. And there's so many answers. I mean, there's so many questions, but like I'm going to talk about tomorrow, is that, you know, we're going to get the answers overall of why the Most High took a brother so soon. But we have to work on this side like our brother Dwayne would have liked, so that we can find the answer and ask on the other side when we meet him again, when we see him again. And you know what? It's time to go harder, as hard as we've ever gone before, not just for ourselves, so that one day we can see that brother breaking the atmosphere with Christ, to be aligned with him in this final battle against evil on earth. So it's going to be so many emotions tomorrow, but all in all, he told his brother, have faith. And to me, having faith means what? Seeing the end of our faith. It's the same as telling all of us to finish. Finish, not just for ourselves, but for our brother. Okay? We spend more time in the spiritual realm than this short space on earth, believe it or not. We're in the spiritual realm from the beginning. We've been there. We were there with him in the beginning. Christ, the creator and the finisher of all our faith, brought us in this earth for a small space to do his will. And I thought about it. I'm like, man, why? You know, you think about all, then you think, man, he gave us his son for a short space. For a short space, the Most High have given us his son. And he had to take him. And he's given us another son in a short space. And he took him. We're all here for a short space. Okay? It's what you do with the life that the Most High blessed you with while here. Will you be remembered? And I'll tell you this. Dwayne will be remembered. Okay? Me personally and all the brethren will never let his name die. And every time we see Blaine, we see Dwayne. All praises be to the Most High. There's so many emotions flowing, but he wants us to finish. He would like us to finish. Come on, my brother. Hit me up. Hit me up. Hey. Let's lift it up. All right. We're going to talk more about it, during the feast. I'll be here all the way through the feast, through the land of our brother down tomorrow. The feast Sabbath and the academy Sunday. Okay. So you all know I'm doing the academy live from over here in the UK, United Kingdom, where so much of this work began. And I'll tell you, there's a multitude that came out of a handful of people throughout the earth. I mean, so much work has been splintered out throughout the earth since I've come to the UK, met up with Gaja and others, and I never forget, I say the story over and over again. The last thing Gaja wanted me to do was open up a Bible. Okay? He was under the conscious community type of black activism type of mentality. And the last thing he wanted to do was to tell, he's like, listen, even before I came, he's like, no, we ain't going to use the Bible. I'm like, listen, you don't know who you have here, okay? Without the Bible, I'm nothing. Yeah, that's right. Because all the answers you're seeking on this radio show is coming straight out of here. You're not going to let me take the only weapon the Most High have given me. So no, you're gonna hear the Bible. You may not agree with it, but now he's a fervent teacher of the Bible. All praises be to the Most High, enduring unto the end. Up, downs, indifferences, whatever goes on in the earth, we must keep brotherly love and endure until the end. And that leads me to say real quick, please, if y'all can, help us out. Make sure you join the Hebrew Bible Academy. Starts December the 4th, this coming Sunday. So much information will be extolled during this academy, okay? So much information. We're going to go in like you've never seen before. I'm going into the genealogies of the world, okay, to break down all phenotypes, who everyone is in the earth. I'm even going to be breaking down this garbage they're teaching throughout the earth, this black and brown thing. Deceiving our people with this black and brown campaign when I go into what? I'm going into the Gentile nations and breaking them down. All people were black and brown before Esau. So the only thing that's doing is aligning the same people who were black and brown who weren't Israelites against Israelites today. When they say black or brown, that's excluding God's people. So I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be talking about marriage, the destruction of family, the battle between man and woman. Everything you would need to know is in this academy, folks. The judgment of the gods. Okay. And oh yeah. And last but not least, when I go into tracing serpent seed, I'm going to also give y'all the insight to that emblem that's on Starbucks. The Starbucks emblem has a pre-flood narrative. Who is she? Who is that woman on the Starbucks symbol? Folks, we're under levels of paganism that you wouldn't believe. That's right, folks. Coming straight out of the water. Who was she? Where did she come from? You're going to find out all of that. The sirens and mermaids in the waters, all that been prophesied out of Enoch in the Bible. And we're going to bring that with weeks 2 lesson. Tracing the serpent seed. And since we're jumping in real quick, because I'm not going to be long at all, we're 5 hours, brothers and sisters, ahead of you all. I have Elder Lawyer on standby, and I have to jump right into it. But I would like to say, please join go to historytimes.org, join the Hebrew Bible Academy, because that does so much to help us in this work, okay? And we have 12 full weeks of serious, packed, Bible-packed information. Elder Lawyer working on some new concepts with the Hebrew, and of course, news like none other starting this evening. Now, historytimes.org. Unfortunately, brothers and sisters, for our loyal Patreon members, don't worry about it. I'm not going to be able to come, for apparent reasons, I'm not going to be able to do Patreon tomorrow, but I'll pick that up next Friday for our loyal Patreon members. So just hold tight. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of y'all next Friday, all right? historytimes.org, join the academy. Now, jumping right in. And let's bring Elder Lawyer in also here. Elder Lawyer. How you doing, Elder Lawyer?
I'm doing well. I can't complain at all. How about yourself?
Man, I'm blessed by the best, and his name is Ahaya. I need to turn that up. I need to turn it up some. I'm real low. Yeah, that's a little better. I'm blessed by the best. Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
I know you're traveling. You'll be going into Zimbabwe soon, or South Africa, visiting the church.
Both, actually. I'm going to be flying first to South Africa. I'll be there for about 6 days, and then afterwards I'm going to travel into Zimbabwe, and I'll be there for another week.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, great. So we're going to get some live footage live from South Africa in the church and what's going on over in Africa, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, jumping right in, Elder Lawyer. I know you've been on this side. We flew over here. You're here in England, right, with us?
Yes, sir.
There's a lot going on in the news. Okay, the title I have this evening is The Media Spin. Media Spin the Israelites Awakening. Right? And the reason why I'm going into this is we're living in a time, Elder Lawyer and Elder Gadja. We're living in a time that was discussed years before this particular environment became mainstream. What do I mean by that? Like I said, when I was learning in the 90s, it was more so mainstream media and others were really dismissing the fact that we were the children of Israel. Even though they intimated and knew that there was something to what we were saying, it seemed as if they were just ignoring the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Right? And really, they had such a grip on the minds of our brothers and sisters, they really didn't care that people were on the streets, quote unquote, expounding what they would call anti-Semitic rhetoric or racial rhetoric. They would just walk by as if they didn't care. Right? Now, let me say this, and I said this once before. I don't, in good earnest, believe that there's any such thing as an religious extremist who's a part of any particular what they would call Israelite group or Israelite church. Okay? That doesn't... Now, are their views extreme, some people? Well, there's strong views or extreme views throughout any religion. Last week before last, when we had Harry on, and I mentioned some of what we were going to discuss out of the Talmud, I would think some of the things in the Talmud is quite extreme. If you understand what some of that ideology says concerning how they feel about Christ, Christians, black people, Gentile people.
Goyim, that's the word they use.
Calling Goyim. That's what I'm saying. So there's some extreme views in Islam, Christianity, Judaism. But now it seems as if they've circled the wagons and have put out fillers for a long time with this anti-Semitism, I would say, campaign. They were sprinkling it out there for about 5-7 years. Jay-Z, stop anti-Semitism, this, that, and the other. right? But now it's ramped all the way up, where now anti-Semitism is now synonymous with Israelite hate groups. Now, why is that important? Because I believe, this is my opinion now, that they've always realized that they would have to contend with our people in numbers coming to the knowledge of ourselves. And they were just peppering the media, getting the people conditioned into accepting an all-out cataclysm against those blacks who are claiming to be Hebrews. Go ahead.
Check this out. If you remember as well, right? Shalom Elola, you can hear me, right? Check this out. There was a time not so long ago, where the focus of anti-Semitism was really on Arabs. Not so long ago. And I mean, very, very recent, it would be the Arabs where the Muslim extremists would be the anti-Semitics, the Palestinian conflict, etc., etc. But then now we're not hearing about that anymore. No, it's it's our opinion.
It's Israelites. Yes. It's those who are claiming to be Israelites now.
No, that is the anti-Semitism. Now look at that.
Yeah.
Now, we said this before. You've said it many times, that the face of terrorism is going to slowly turn from Arabs into Israel. Now, 9/11 was an Arab thing. Then now we're not 2 decades off good yet, and the narrative has been turning. A few years ago, there was a shooting in New Jersey, and they tried to blame it on, and say it was Israelite extremists. But the reports, the police report said, no, man, it was...
The police report said there was no tie-in, there was no connection. But it still doesn't stop them from putting the narrative out there.
From spinning it from the media, right?
It's not stopping them from continually using that as a media reference to the rise of anti-Semitic hate from those who are claiming to Israel. Even though a media circulation came out and said, well, there was really no tie. But they'll never publicize that. No. But go on.
Yeah, so I'm just saying it. Just look at it. Is it a coincidence? Is it what is it? How is it now slowly coming into black people as now the hate and mind you, elder, and those listening in, black people is the most vulnerable group of people on the planet. We have no military, we have no media network to promote propaganda or anything to defend any ideas that we have. You understand? So
listen, hold up now. Now I know what you're saying is true, but now, based on the optics of what's out there, is what you're saying true? Hold up now. Is there an army? And the reason why I'm saying this, listen, Gaja will tell you right now. This is how you know we're all linked in the spirit. I had that song, Brotherly Love, out there. Wait till you see what I have on the docket right now. Everything you said, he just came in before I shut on the camera. The only thing him and I talked about was him bringing adapters so that my computers can work in the UK. None of this have been discussed this evening concerning this topic, media spin on the Israelites. But folks, it's everything you said, Elder Gaja, is right on pace with what I'm about to introduce. Oh, look at that. The media spin, when did that begin? Where this is 2 things they wanted to do. Here's the 2 things. Number 1, they wanted to get into the church. Because one time the black church was separate from evangelical right-wing white Christians. They wanted to get into the church to dictate doctrine and join some type of spiritual union with the black church to support the restoration of what we call today Israel. But they cannot do that without Christian support, especially with America being predominantly a Christian nation. So they had to do that. I'm going to talk about that. And on top of doing that, to be able to cling to Christians, to know if our sentiments are changing from not knowing anything about our past at all into us looking into the Bible to find ourselves as Israelites. Right? And that was the first thing, to get amongst us, to dictate our path when it comes to the knowledge of this Bible, or finding our history, so that they can do what? So that they can probably derail it or stifle it altogether, or be in as a form of divide and conquer to stop us from coming together under one God like we once were. The other thing, I'm gonna let you go. Yeah. The other thing they wanted to do is to listen to me clearly. No, I want you to write it. I want you to say it. Because the next thing to do is to try to spin some story that we have the equivalent of a white KKK now amongst black people. Those two things together, they would utilize to spin a narrative that would have them come against Israelites. And what do you have to say, Gajo, on that?
No, I was gonna write down my thought as you make the points. I don't have to interrupt. I can remember.
Go ahead.
But what was I saying to you? It's almost again what you're just saying. It's like at 325 AD all over again, or a continuation of that. The pagans saw the followers of Christ rising. They couldn't stop them. They said, all right, we can't beat them. Let's join them. Became the authority. Same thing. So now they're in the churches as the authorities within the church, the Jesuits, the spies, those who come in to spy the liberties, and they're bringing in doctrine, they're bringing in ways. But what's happening now is there is a mass awakening coming away from that, coming right away from it. Like, okay, that's not able to hold on to the people anymore.
Yep.
Something is happening. Something is in the atmosphere. A natural mystic, as some probably want to say, but it's happening where they can't control that narrative anymore. That is the problem. Check this out, Elder. In Acts, the 18th chapter.
Hold up. We're going to get Acts 18 because I need you to get your scriptures, but I need to set the tone.
Cool. All right. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because what you're about to bring in, what you're about to talk about, right? What I'm about to deal with, what I'm about to bring forth is a secret sauce. Okay, hold on. Let me tell you what's about to happen here. Because I've been cooking, young man, I've been cooking before you got here.
All right.
So, we're going to take out, we ain't going to be here long, but there's a secret sauce. It's about to be poured on this thing, right? Folks, why do you think, hey, I got the stuff tonight. Go back to 2019. Go back to the summer of 2019 when I told everyone that they're going to spin the narrative, and I'm going to tell you when they spent the narrative and who they used to spin the narrative. From the whole time, folks, it was never about Arab extremists. It was all about pivoting off of Arabs, where the Arabs and Esau would come against us, and guess what? Ishmael purposely allowed Esau to use him as a proxy, knowing that they would spin that religious extremism on blacks who are claiming to be Israelites. But if they come to us first, we would claim they were racist. So they always tether off of another group and then spin it back to their target from the beginning, who they wanted to get from the beginning. Let's go in 2015. Let me tell you, and I know they was like, man, this Elder Ricard, we can't get nothing past this guy. That's right. because I know who their agents are. And this is why I'm going to say it right now. All due respect to the brothers in IUIC that marched on Manhattan and all that. I'm going to tell you this. All I can say is, listen, we told people a long time ago, be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Does this help our people more so, or hurt our people? But before we do that, because they can do what they want. They can do what they want. I'm not in it. I don't care about it. That's what it is. But I'm going to tell you, that was the moment. Hold on. Let me tell you right now. That was the moment they were looking for. And I'm not even going to talk about them. Based on everything that I was talking about since 2009, what happened with that march, okay, in Brooklyn, a Jewish town, that was the linchpin they needed. It was the linchpin they needed, and I said it since 2009. They just need to see a military front of radicalism, of radicalized black Hebrews to justify their claims of what they feared would happen. Let me show you. That was 2009. I said they're going to spin this thing back to black people. Hold up. 2009. 10 years later, 2019, I showed y'all this, where those Zionists were afraid of the black church converting. They were charting black churches since 2009 to 2019 to see if the tide would turn, where the majority of the black church would empty out and begin to believe that they were Hebrews. 2009, Elder Lawyer. Check it out. This is the report that I showed y'all in 2019. This is a Zionist report, folks.
You know what's funny, LMA? You did that broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was us.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember it, yeah.
We did the broadcast. I'm just going to touch on it. We did the broadcast together, and check this out. On top of doing the broadcast, the next year, after I told people that they're going to have to do something based on this report, 2020, the whole world caught a cold and shut down. Because they weren't just charting African American attitudes towards Israel. They know a trend. They know a trend. The trend is whatever black people make popular, the whole world follows. Whatever black American culture pushes, good or bad sentiments, the whole world mimics it. So it was deeper than just charting the African American attitudes, because they know if we have an attitude against those who are against us, the world would begin to have the same what? Sentiments. Or what they would deem disposition. Watch how this goes, young man. Didn't I say we had the sauce? Listen to this. African American attitudes towards Israel. The online survey of 1,019 Americans were conducted March 22nd April the 2nd, 2019. The project was sponsored by the Philos Report. Folks, this is straight Zionist project charting the Christian church. Right? Respondents were invited to participate in a large national panel. Why would they care? This is a freedom of religion. Why? Check this out. Respondents were screened to only include self-identified Black or African Americans who were born in the U.S. Let's talk about them only. ADOS, that's right. The descendants of slaves, not the immigrants. Okay, like Tariq is saying, FBA, foundational Black Americans, the people who built the countries so that everyone else can come over and aggrandize themselves off of the works of Judah, right? So they was charting this. Maximum quotas and slight weights were used for gender, region, age, education, and religious group to more accurately reflect the African American population using statistics published by the Pew Research and the Census Bureau. Why? The completed sample is 1,019 surveys. The sample provides 95% confidence that the sampling error does not exceed 3.6%. Margins of error are higher in subgroups. Folks, we don't even know we're being studied by these people. And why?
What I say, 95% confidence that it does not exceed 3.6% error.
Yeah, they're on point.
What?
They know exactly the sentiments of our people. Wow. The more we figure out who we are, they are equating that with being anti them. Because by default, if we say we're Israel, we're going to begin to question them.
Well, who are you?
And start questioning the doctrine they have control of through the Turner Broadcast Network, the Christian Broadcast Network, BET. We're going to start breaking the mental chains and come back to the knowledge of ourselves. And through that, the world will grow. Those who are in power will grow a natural paranoia, afraid of what this means, not just for our people, but for how they can move freely with everyone understanding their true hands in things. Now, I'm going to go straight to this, y'all. Let me show you a few things they talked about. From which the following sources do they regularly get news? Let's find out where they get their news from. It was 81% television, but then that switched off to the internet. That's why they purchased Google, because that's where the true battleground is. 46% websites, 48% Twitter. Social media. So when you put that together, social media, including Twitter, is out percentaging mainstream media, right? From which of the following TV networks do you regularly get news? These are the questions they ask these people, right? Look at social media, right? Up there, right? From which of the following online news sites do you regularly get news, right? So now they're looking at it to find out who's under our programming, right? What you watch, because by knowing what you watch, they understand how to control. You can get that for me? On more so, how to control you. Because if you're engulfed in their news, you're within their mental. That's right. That mental cage or box of control. Right? In the bathroom right there. See? So if they know what you're watching, they'll know how to spin certain things to get you to do. No, the bathroom right here. Right. To do their will, because they understand how you think. You know how they know why they know how you think? Because they're behind programming you.
They're the ones that are giving you the things to think about.
Exactly. So they can steer your narrative. Right? More. I'm going to show you the point that we really want to focus on here. Right? because they threw the softball questions first. I really appreciate this, brother, right? They threw the softball questions first. But then they wanted to come with the real stuff, the real reason they're asking black people questions. Which of the following have influenced your opinions about Israel?
Wow. Wow.
Because all this money they've put in mainstream media, you should have the same sentiments as CNN and the other news. Support Israel. Israel is the only beacon of light, the only democracy we have in the Middle East. Everyone is saying the same talking points, and normally you'll come with the same sentiments that even if you are a Christian, which we've seen them come on our program and say they don't believe in Christ at all, you still must support Israel based on mainstream media. So they got to ask the question, right? Which of the following have influenced your opinions? What do you think about Israel? Now, folks, I wish they would poll other races of people in other countries and ask them, what do you think about the blacks, Hispanics, and all those who are suffering in third world by the Roman imperialists and colonizers? You notice how they don't care how other people think about us. So the question should be, which of the following have influenced your opinions about blacks being Israelites? And if they are Israel, should we support them? I need that poll, but we'll save that for another day, right? Check this out. 34% say that the media has most influenced their views about Israel. 17% say the Bible. 26% are not sure why they support Israel, right? Mm-hmm. Or have views on Israel, right? Now check this out. 7 out of 10 say they sympathize equally with the hardships of Israelis and Palestinians, right? Mm-hmm. Now let's go down here. Check this out, elders. This is the one I really want us to focus on, right? Because you would think they're just talking about Israel, right? This have nothing to do with it. Check this out. Which of any of the following have positively influenced your opinions about the country of Israel? We want to know who thinks positive for Israel, right? Now, folks, this is predominantly, folks, a Christian survey. Okay? The Philos Project is supposed to be rooted in Christianity. I don't hear nothing about Christ here, right? Check this out. It's going to swing around full circle. Check this out. Let's go down the line. 3 out of 10 agree with the subtle anti-Semitic statement that Jewish people have too much control of American finances. That's what they say here, right? A poll that they polled black people, right? Listen to this. Listen to this. Let me go straight down. Right? Okay, they try to tie in Martin Luther King. That's how you slowly get the sentiments, right? Mm-hmm. Black people love Martin Luther King, so let's do that tie-in so that they'll feel the same about us by default, right? Mm-hmm. Civil rights movement, right? So we're going to get past that. 41% agree that the formation of modern Israel is a fulfillment of God's covenant with the Jewish people. Well,
that's Christian church spin. That's what they tell them.
That's what is taught in the church, mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Right? Now check this out. 28% agree that they're seeing more black people express anti-Semitism than in the past. Let's see what that is. Look where they're going, elders. 62% agree that God's promise of the land of Israel to Abraham and his descendants was for all time. Mm-hmm. Now, this is what alarmed them. The 62% who agree that God's promise still stands. Mm-hmm. That's including Christians, folks. Mm-hmm. So that means that Christians believe there's a physical covenant for a physical people on earth.
That's a high percentage.
But we're supposed to, according
inclusive.
to the media and what's out there, to believe, we're supposed to believe it's only one group of people. Now, if the 62% believe they're just Jewish whites, then okay. But I believe this is the alarming part. Look at where this goes. Look at where this goes. No, let's show this. We're not dealing with Black Lives Matter either. I'm going to show you, because Black Lives Matter is nothing but a controlled mechanism from the left liberal zones. They have nothing to do with us, so I'm going to deal with that. Here we go. Why do
Why is this on it?
Why do they have Black Hebrew Israelites in the study?
Why? What purpose does it serve? Why? Why?
Now, even though we don't call ourselves Black Hebrew Israelites, now we're getting into the meat of their concern. We're getting now into the meat of their concern. The same people that used to dismiss or ignore are now on the radar. Right? But check it out. They say 62% claim I am not familiar with the Black Hebrew Israelite teachings.
So you don't know.
Why are you concerned about who is familiar with the Black Hebrew Israelite teachings if it doesn't affect the narrative that's popular, that's typical out there concerning the land of Israel? But see, when you add these numbers up, 19% agree with most of their ideas.
Yeah, but check this out, Elder, right? 62% don't not familiar with Israelites. 38% are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Here's the whole thing. That's it. And it's only growing. You see why they're doing this thing with Kyrie and them? This is 2019, folks. It's only growing. 4% say I consider myself a Hebrew Israelite. 90% say I agree with most of the core ideas. Well, if they're Black and agree with it, they also consider themselves Israelites. I disagree with most of the core ideas taught by the Hebrew Israelites. That means I disagree with it, but I know about it, which means there's an opportunity for them to convince me. And 6% says, I firmly oppose the teachings of Black Hebrew Israelites. But that's not good enough that you oppose it. Because if you sit down with a Hebrew Israelite in the Bible, you will be convinced, even if you disagree, that there's something to our people claiming to be Israelites. And folks, this right here was the bell that rung. They begin to dog whistle throughout the earth and say it's time to set the precedent and come against this teaching that's exposing all of those who have kept Israel in darkness. Now, here's more. Check this out. They want to know how many people have Jewish friends. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, I have Jewish friends. Let me put that out there. Okay? I have friends. Listen, nothing personal. What I do for Christ is all business. I know some great guys that I can call if there's a lawyer or something. Great guys. All right? Let me put this out there. Wow. And you see, listen, I showed nothing but respect to Harry, right? Now, I want y'all to check this out, folks. They started charting with the Black Hebrew Israelites, as they call Black Hebrew Israelites, Christian church attendance of participants. How often do they go to church? And come to find out that Black people go to church more religiously than 80% compared to any other ethnicity goes to church. So why are they if Israel is a separate state with the religion of Judaism predominantly, why do they care what Christians feel? Right? They even broke down denominations. Boy, are they studying those Christians. You know why? Because it was those in Christ who would oppose darkness at the very end, according to Bible prophecy. Boy, are they looking at this. Check this out. I need y'all to check this out. blacks attend church? 71% compared to any other ethnicity. Who? Blacks. Blacks. Whites are only 7%. Look at this line. It's still going. Asians don't even go. They run around with little fat statues, Buddha. Hispanics only 1%. Look at this, folks. We are the Christian church in America. Look at this. They would hold, and you would never guess. No, hold up. Let me go. They broke us down by age groups, demographics, everything. You know why? Because listen.
Elder, can I see the denomination chart again real quick?
The denomination, let's go.
Let's just see that real quick, and then you can go back there. I wanted to see the denomination.
Down here? Denominations?
Yeah,
let's go.
The churches that they were looking at, the Baptists and so on. I was wondering if the Catholics were in it as well.
Okay, let's see the denominations. Right here. See?
I don't see Catholics.
Look at Baptist American churches. 19%.
See, you don't see Catholics here. The Hispanics are majority Catholics.
Yeah, but Catholics not even in this demographic.
Exactly. They're not yeah.
They don't care because if you're Catholic, you're already under the complete programming.
That's what I was wondering.
They don't care about it.
They don't care about that, no. The Catholic is part of...
It's the pagan hierarchy. But look at this. Now, why am I going here, folks? Some people might ask, well, where did Elder Ricard find out about the Philos Project? How did I find this out? Check this out, check this out, Gaja, Elder Lawyer. There's a guy. I told you all, brothers and sisters. Here we go. I told you all that they were going to switch the the Muslim extremists, Arabs, to black extremists. Knowing that at the end of it, that their target would be the awakening, but they needed the media to spin it like they did. That's right. Muslim, Islamic, religious extremism. They needed the media to spin it to blacks, knowing that we would, awaken to the knowledge of ourselves and challenge the theology and the lies we've been taught coming up in their schools. 2015, Elder Lawyer. 2015 is when they began the spin to move it from Arabs to blacks. And at this time, they were still ignoring the awakening of our people as Israelites. Now I'm going to go back 4 years. 2015, May 2015. A profile of a Texas gunman, Elton Simpson, in Nadir Sufi. Now, Nadir Sufi was an Arab. The modus operandi of the extremist media have programmed us to believe was the head of all extremists.
The war on terror.
The war on terror. Jack Bauer, 48, terrorism, going to the Middle East, setting up a democracy, fighting Arab terrorism. Bin Laden is in the cave with some wires connected to a rock, communicating with some terror cells over in Chicago. So they needed to have a spin to move it from Arab to a black face. Texas gunman Elton Simpson in Nadir Sufi. Look what we have here. Here's the black guy. Nadir Sufi. Now look at this. Look at all these stage pictures here, quote unquote. Nadir Sufi is not even in the image.
That's
right?
interesting.
Now,
You put his name there.
his
but-
name there, but
What?
he's, hold up, folks. This is mainstream media. BBC News over where you are, where we are now in England, is reporting a black gunman in Texas as an extremist. Right? Now, I'm going to now type in, follow me, folks. I told you I have the sauce. Let's see who Nadir, what Nadir Sufi looks like. Hold up. You cannot make this up. Hold up, folks. Hold up. Hold up. No, get out of here. We don't need that. Look at your Nadir Sufi. Right? Check him out. Now, I don't know who, I don't know what ethnicity he is. Y'all can say whatever you want, but now this is where the narrative thickens. They won't show him elders here because they have switched. They have switched from here now, 2015, to here. The media has pivoted. They have pivoted now. But now, they slowly nudged us from seeing a Arab Muslim to what? Accepting black Muslims as the possible new terrorists the world must look out for. Now they must do one more pivot to switch it to their target. And their target people are really those who know they're Israel, religious, then they're going to call them religious extremists. Now, check this out. This is where it gets good, y'all. You would never guess who was the preacher on the scene. Who was the preacher on the scene to help foil this crime? Fair use.
Attack in Texas, investigators chase leads overseas, and a slain gunman returns home. According to local media in Kansas City, Missouri, Nadir Sufi will be buried today. He's one of the two men that targeted that event that offended many Muslims by featuring cartoon images of the Prophet Muhammad. And the feds are scouring the online contacts of the other gunman, Elton Simpson. They're especially focused on Junaid Hussain, a British hacker linked to ISIS and believed to be operating in Syria. CNN's Kian Law is in Phoenix, where Sufi and Simpson shared an apartment. Good morning.
Fair use.
Good morning, Carol. We're learning much more about Elton Simpson, and I want you to take a look at this video. The video itself is innocuous. It is from 2012. It is a fundraiser, but we actually see Elton Simpson. We get a sense of his personality. We've been hearing all week that he's so mild-mannered, that he wasn't violent, that he was calm. You actually see it now. You can hear it.
And what he's really saying right here is he's gonna get a double cheeseburger from Wendy's. Okay, that's what he's saying. But of course, they're not going to allow him to talk. They are giving the narrative here, but they probably ask him, "What you want for lunch?" Okay.
But why we focusing on him?
I'm gonna show you.
It's a fundraiser.
Listen.
We actually see Elton Simpson.
Look at this.
We get a sense
Here
of
go the
his
sauce.
personality. We've been hearing all week that he's so mild-mannered, that he wasn't violent, that he was calm. You actually see it now. You can hear it in his voice. And we're also hearing the fortitude of his faith in this video clip. Take a listen.
It recharges your iman as well. When you come together and you pray 5 times a day with
read
your
it.
brothers, provides for you a form of weaponry to go out into the real world and use that weaponry to shield you against the tricks of the shaitan.
Now, friends say he converted to Islam while he was in high school to basically stay out of trouble. That's why his family supported him in his choices, that he continued to study it as he became an older man. We also interviewed a pastor friend of his. Yes, an evangelical pastor. They were friends at work. They debated theology often. And even though it doesn't...
So they were friends at work and debated theology often.
Makes sense to many people. This pastor believes that this violence in Texas, that it may have felt like a logical step for Elton Simpson. Here's what he says.
I was surprised.
Vocab Malone.
Nah.
Vocab Malone was used as the extremist friend who would now pivot from black Islam to black Hebrew Israelites media.
Yo, hold up, man. Hold up.
Hold. I told you I had the sauce.
Yo, but check it. 2019, right?
Yeah.
Who came on the scene trying to interview Israelites?
Hold up. Come on. Hold. I got the sauce. Listen, he want to see this. Come on. Take the headphones off, young man. Don't mess with me. I told you I got the sauce.
What the hell?
His friend of the so-called black extremists claimed he was a pastor. He's not an apologist here in 2015.
He's a pastor here. He's an evangelist pastor here, you know.
With no people in
With
the back.
nobody, no church.
In what appeared to be a scene. So this is the guy they used to pivot from black extremists to Israelites, and that he would have the job himself connected with media.
You see this? Look at it. Come look at that. This is look. Just come around and
Come on in.
Come on, check it out.
Come, I told you I had the sauce.
Nah.
Come over, young man. Oh, it ain't over.
But not shocked. I wouldn't put it past him because I understood the sincerity of his.
Let's do it again.
Now, friends say he converted to Islam while he was in high school to basically stay out of trouble. That's why his family supported him in his choices, that he continued to study it as he became an older man. We also interviewed a pastor friend of his. Yes, an evangelical pastor. They were friends at work. They debated theology often. And even though it doesn't make sense to many people, this pastor believes that this violence in Texas, that it may have felt like a logical step for Elton Simpson. Here's what he says.
I was surprised, but not shocked.
Why you
I
not
wouldn't
shocked?
put it past him because I
you was
understood the
programmed. They
sincerity
programmed him.
of his
I mean,
beliefs.
you're not shocked.
And he
Why you not
had
shocked?
expressed to me
Hold on, pause that for me real quick. Pause that. What do you mean you're not shocked? What do you mean you're not shocked?
Were you part of one of the people who was quote unquote could be handling the situation?
Yo.
I don't know. Allegedly. Who is this guy? Where do he work? How he's able to get to every place and harass Israelites every place with no job, folks? Who's funding this guy?
For Osama bin Laden, he used the word hero.
And he remembered the conversation so vividly at the job. He tried to bring him into the love of Jesus. Hold up. Hold up.
It's wild.
It's wild. Because when you go to his page, who do we have now? Who do we have premiering December 2, full circle from, he was the guy from the beginning waiting for this moment to become the expert. Listen, the expert that all the other yellow journalistic circulations would utilize as an expert on terrorism. He would become the expert that would be interviewed all over the world concerning his connection with Hebrew Israelism. And there's no such thing as Hebrew Israelism, folks. Folks, listen, this is what they have been waiting for. They've been waiting for this moment. How do we know they've been waiting for this moment? Check this out. This is news from Israel, the Times of Israel. How many Hebrew Israelites are there, and how worried should Jews be?
Oh my gosh. So when we out here saying that we don't have armies or we don't have that
we're no threat to no one, we just want to teach the truth. Listen, it's about Christ. It's not about Christ is going to bring the army. His army is coming and we're going to meet him in the air and he's going to oppose all evil. They were waiting for this moment right here.
Yo, November 22nd. This is this week?
This was this week. Brother, I told you, I'm got the sauce on it. Listen to what this is Israel. They don't know what's being planned.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to say this.
Hold up, check that.
Hold up. Let's read it. Recent militant posturing of Israel United in Christ, followers of Hebrew Israelite spiritual movement, has alarmed many already on edge from recent attacks and rise in anti-Semitism. Now there's more. Hold up. You would never guess who's in the article. Listen. Dressed in matching purple hoodies and shirts with gold fringes attached to the bottom of their observance, Deuteronomy 22, hundreds of members of a controversial Hebrew Israelite group marched through the streets of Brooklyn on Sunday. Right? Listen to this. Right? Listen to this. Now I'm gonna cut straight to it. Right? I'm gonna cut straight to it, right? I'm gonna type in vocab. This is Israel. For lots of people, the attention that Wes and Irvin have brought to their belief system has been validating. Kanye West and Irving have brought to their system what? Listen, they talking about Kyrie and Kanye over in Israel. And look who they have here. The devil himself. Israelism is becoming part of the plausibility structure of Black America. Christian activist and co-author Vocab Malone told the Jewish Telegraphic Agency.
So
How do this
he's
guy?
He's an expert of
How do this guy get access to the Jewish Telegraphic Agency? He went from being a Black pastor who was friends with an extremist in 2015 to a what? Man, this guy he wears many hats. A Christian activist now and an author. He told the Jewish Telegraphic Agency, referring to social texts in which certain ideas, listen to this, certain ideas are considered credible. Listen to this. This is going to blow you away, young man. Listen to this. The suspicions that a lot of folks have toward the Jewish community. They think they're vindicated now. Now look who we have here. Scott McConnell, Lifeway's executive, told ITA that the survey sponsor, the Christian Zionist organization, Philo's Project,
supplied the question about Hebrew Israelite teaching.
They tied it all around.
Oh my goodness!
Supplied the question.
So they're admitting to it now. What the survey was.
What the survey
was
said.
All was about from.
They needed that to justify the foundings in the survey.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow.
You see this?
Wow.
This is overseas. They're not reporting this in America. This is international news, not for no popularity or a feel-good story about Israel. They have given, that's right, the world powers all the fuel they need. Now, there's more.
Yo, listen to this, huh?
I know there are some pastors at African American churches that have concerns about some of their parishioners, divide and conquer, being led astray by the teachings of the Hebrew Israelites. So we'll keep it on our radar. Malone, who uses an alias in keeping with hip hop culture, and he cannot rap. He's whack, okay? So he's no hip hop nothing. Who uses an alias in keeping with hip hop culture, he's not recognized as anything in hip hop culture, is a close observer of the Israelite world. I thought he was dealing with Muslim extremists, folks.
With a pastor, neither with a
The Phoenix resident frequently engages in debates on the street and online with members of groups described as hateful by the Southern Poverty Law Center. They put all the yellow journalism in this particular article. Universal Practical Knowledge, Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, and the Sakari in hopes of convincing them to follow what he considers to be the true path of Christianity. Now, if Vocab really wanted to show them the true path, why don't he speak to the times of Israel and try to convert them from Judaism into the good word of Jesus Christ? Why is he so concerned about Israelites? Unless it's his job to be concerned about Israelites. Folks, this is deep. And you'll never guess who they got here. Hold on. There's more. Look at this. KKK. Right? They even got the Ku Klux Klan up in here. Let me see. Let me see. Let me get it here. It could have been another article. That could have been another article. But folks, they got it all in this article. And this is being published at the Times of Israel. Look who they tying in. Now, mind you, Kyrie Irving said outright, he not associated with any group. He said it outright. He didn't ask for any of that. But they say the popularity of him, because this came on the back of that, is what they were afraid of.
Hold up. Sorry. Prayer. Terrifying. Commented. Elisha Rishan, a black and Jewish fashion designer who blames Hebrew Israelites for inflaming tensions between the two communities to which he belongs. So they're blaming Israelites now.
Yep.
For everything.
For everything
now. Yo.
Israelites now is the face of anti-Semitism, which could have been, who knows, what they thought would happen all along. They just needed all the pieces to fall in place. Now, there's more. There is more. But before I go into that more, hold tight. We'll be right back because we're about to tell you and show you what this means. Folks, I've been watching this since 2009. We are here. We are here. This is the moment, and that's I'm going to show you. Yes, let me tell you, it has nothing to do with what colors we wear. The Most High has awakened millions of Israelites all over the earth. It's happening whether there's groups or not. But how are we to walk with this knowledge? How are we to walk with this knowledge? Folks, we must be wise with this understanding. I'm going to show you where this goes. Hold tight. We'll be back in 1 second, and I'm going to hear y'all opinions. I'm going to sit back and hear your opinions first before we bring the conclusion of it. And I'm going to open up the lines. Hold tight. I know you want to talk, but let me put this on, and we'll be right back. Hold tight. What does this mean, folks? Hold tight. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that he used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. you're invited. All right. Hebrew Bible Academy, December 4th. Now, Elder Lawyer. A matter of fact, Elder Gadget, hold up.
Yes, sir.
I put it all together here. We told y'all 2019 is when the Yellow Journalistic Zionist Philos Project report came out. And I told everybody that they are alarmed that so much of the black church, so many in the black church are now coming to the knowledge that they may be Israelites and understand what this would mean geopolitically for the world if our people would understand this at once. Less crime, less sin, families coming together, protection from on high. It would destroy the economies of the world. This world is incentivized by promoting criminality and death so that they can have what? Work prisons to replace slave labor. They have never let the slaves free. So this is a threat to the world economy if we come back to God, because we'll become self-sufficient, begin to operate as one, and understand that no, our alliances is what? With God and our family and our people, and guess what? With Christ above all first. And if you don't do business with Christ, if you don't believe in him, we cannot do business with you. What you have to say, Gaja?
Boy, Elder, this kind of get close to the mic. This kind of blowing my mind, because this Jewish article here, this Jewish Times, confirmed that it was a study for the children of Israel.
Yeah,
that was the concern. Even though it was very small at the bottom of the way down at the bottom of it, it was the original intention from the beginning.
Yeah.
What would it mean? And you said something earlier. Yeah, anything that the children of Israel make popular becomes popular. Deuteronomy 4, 5, and 6 says, I've given you laws and commandments, I'm paraphrasing. Wherever you go and do them. And this shall be your wisdom amongst the nations. So people see us do things and go, yeah, what's that?
Yeah.
Let me get that.
Yeah.
So if the children of Israel is no longer promoting the Bakri, whoredom, and all the other negativity that associate with us, and promoting righteousness, then this is a problem for the people them here who getting rich.
Yeah.
Revelation 11 and 8. When the spirit of life entered into them.
Yeah.
They suffered not to put their dead bodies in graves. You with me? But they were afraid. I'm paraphrasing, but the scripts.
Yeah.
And that is what is happening real time. So all right, then let's demonize them. Let's burn down Rome and blame it on them.
Yeah. Listen, all I know is right now there's some purple shirts probably getting hot off the press. And guess what? It's not probably that group making them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we know anything about what? The extremism is that we have to understand that it comes with media. Sometimes false flags must happen to provoke the intended outcome. Now, I'm just, listen.
It's like
let me say something real quick. And I pray that doesn't happen. But I know how the other side work. Nero, like you've just mentioned, burned Rome, burned 7 cities of Rome. 7 separate markets within Rome, and blamed it on black Christians because that was their aim. But what? Nero and others would have lost the PR and would have lost the people if they just would have engaged those who they felt threatened their power. So they had to create a scenario to justify coming against. The same as we see the narrative of September 11th, 2001. Of course, the Bushes and others, they said it outright. They wanted that war. They needed that war, but didn't have just cause. Others have come out and said they needed it. But guess what? September 11th gave them exactly what they needed to come against their intended target.
It started it. It started the cycle to come to bring it in.
And see, and that's where I'm gonna show you. We putting Christ in a title. That's where Christ comes in. Christ comes in is that if we're in Christ, using his name and operating as Hebrews, we are to walk according to Christ. What would Christ do in this current time and climate, understanding what's going on with the awakening? And I'm going to say this. Listen to me clearly. I'm going to show you all this before I let you in, Elder. When you go here, right, this article has it all. This article has it all. It has Nick Cannon. Look. It has Nick Cannon, Floyd Mayweather, Kanye West. Man, let me tell you, it's showing all of our people, the black culture, changing the tide of the world by announcing we are Hebrews. They are watching all over the world. Now, let me tell you, there's thousands upon thousands who've been baptized in this church. But we understand the climate we're in. Why? Because the Most High showed us in 2009 that they were looking to do what? Change the Islamic extremists and pointed strictly to black, what they would coin black Hebrew Israelites as a what? A domestic terrorist threat. Now we understand why the Patriot Act under the Bushes was drafted in America while they was having war in the Middle East. It wasn't to arrest the people in the Middle East for extremist views. It was for the awakening here in America or here in the Western world. They were priming the pumps for this. Nick Cannon isn't in this. Listen, and guess what? They got Nick Cannon. They said they even have the rapper. What's the brother?
KRS One?
No, the brother, the one who says he's Judah. Don't call
that was in what's it called?
Yeah. The one No.
The one from California, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're talking. The name on my mind. Can't say.
Let me get him.
You talking about Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick Lamar. Thank you, Elder. They even got Kendrick Lamar up in it. This, folks, this is in press within Israel. They got Kendrick Lamar up in this piece. Hold up, where is he? They got Kendrick Lamar. Look.
Kodak Black.
A number of black male celebrities have also been drawn into the wider Israelite orbit in recent years, including the rappers Kendrick Lamar and Kodak Black, TV host Nick Cannon, boxer Floyd Mayweather. This is what they feared. People with money having the influence to change the tide. Amari Stoudemire. Oh yeah, my brother Amari. And folks, guess what? Listen, I would never tell people outright who I've had conversations with and all that concerning the awakening. Since when we was over doing Peace FM in England, I had people calling. I was talking to people in our people, brothers who understood, very influential, rich, and all that, reaching out saying, I just seen the debate with the rabbi. This is interesting. Can we talk? But you know what? I would never put their name out there. I would never do certain things to compromise their position to help us out there. Why? Because Christ says you must be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. You can't use a scenario to now come in yourself and say, well, no, that's that brother's wealth. That's his position. If he want to say what he recognized, it's his position to do so. It's not my position to ride on that.
Recruit or
Ride on that and compromise his position to help our people. Now, see, where does this goes? Before we talk about where it goes, Elder Lawyer, I need your opinion on this real quick. Before I open up the calls, because there's a few more things I want to talk about. Go on.
Yes, sir. Well, definitely. First and foremost, I want to touch on the survey that was done. Surveys like this, examining the culture and the pulse of what's going on in the Black community, as far as political views, as far as social status, as well as religious views, have been done for a very long time. I actually have a book that I've been mentioning. I've mentioned quite a few times that I believe that during this academy, I think we have a lesson that I think is fitting to bring this particular record out. This book being called, I believe it's called, I don't have it with me, but I think the title is New World A-Coming by Roy Otley. And he was a very prominent, renowned journalist, a Black journalist. This book goes back to the 40s. And in this book, they have a variety of various things pertaining to the Black community, as far as economics, jobs, religious beliefs, social status, as well as their relationship with their, I guess you would say, their ethnic counterparts. And one of those counterparts being what we call the so-called Jewish people. Okay? And they have a whole chapter dedicated to the relationship between Blacks and Jewish people. And back then, at that time, they were stating or blaming what they called anti-Semitic sentiments amongst the Black community, again, to show you how far this actually goes back.
Hold on, lawyer. Y'all got to do us a favor. We have 2,500 people in here, and we down about 1,000 likes here. Come on. Just hit the like. You see we're bringing the information here. Come on, help us out. If you haven't hit the like button, do it for me real quick. All right, go on. Other people want to hear this too, and you know they're blackballed as almost. We're shadow banned on YouTube, so help us out. Go ahead, Elder Lawyer. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. So back in the 40s when this book came out and when this research was done, they were claiming back then that there were anti-Semitic sentiments amongst the Black community. And initially, what the brother stated, Roy Otley, what he stated was that one of the ideas was that these sentiments were coming from Marcus Garvey and his movement, which was the UNIA, I believe it was called.
Yeah, United Negro Improvement Association, yeah.
Right. So that was one of the claims, that he somehow got a hold of some either ideas or literature from Germany or from Europe and began to share that information amongst the Black community. And through him, somehow these ideas began to spread amongst the Black community. But then he started doing further insight and further research to get some other ideas and insights as to what may have contributed not to anti-Semitic views, as they called it, or as they referred to it even in this time, but more so with any culture or any people, if there is a sense of either mistreatment, misuse in various avenues of society, obviously there's going to be some level of tension. So I'll just use the word tension in reference to what they call so-called anti-Semitism, but really is tension based on some very valid points. And some of the valid points that was brought up was, number one, business practices that were being done in the Black community with the layaway system, which a Black person would go in to try to buy a suit. At that time, a suit, I think he was mentioning numbers as far as $2 for a suit, but it would be with interest, which we know, according to the Bible,
the Torah,
Jews cannot use interests one against another, but they can use certain practices with people outside of their nation. So they were using these practices on us under the auspices of us being Gentiles, what have you. And in doing so, they had us in continual debt. And that was something that they mentioned as a thing where black people were like, hold up, what's going on with these shady business practices where we're buying furniture, we're buying clothing, and before you know it, we're in a debt where we've dug a big hole for ourselves just to buy a suit or a couch. And, we're in a continual cycle of debt. And it just so happens that the people who are using these practices are of a certain persuasion.
Yeah.
Also,
So he's saying it was more so us pushing back at someone of people adding to our already deprivation.
exactly.
Here it is. We're in a hole. We're in a hole already. That's why we have to put our clothes on layaway. So you mean to tell me I have to pay twice as much for the same shoes, and we're suffering? So
Exactly.
he said when people started to push back like that, it was on their side viewed as anti-Semitism, when really it was, man, give us a break.
Take your foot off.
Exactly.
It's not.
Exactly.
I'm not mad at you, but why are you going to charge me twice for something that doesn't cost that? So we push back with illegal practices or inhumane practices against us, and that's considered on their side anti-Semitism. No, why don't let's get some reciprocity here. Right? Why don't we just come to the conclusion that that let's not take advantage of the disadvantage, and there won't be tension.
Hey, why you hitting me? Hey, why you hate me? Because he hitting me. Why you hit me? Crazy.
Even Christ said, I don't know if they'll listen to this, but even Christ said, Elder Lawyer, rebuke. So we have the right to rebuke.
That's right.
Rebuke. It says, rebuke, and if thou repent, forgive. So they trying to stifle the rebuke. They don't even want to hear that they're doing anything wrong against anyone. And if you repent and make amends for what you've done against us and our people, we'll forgive you. But they want to stop us from actually complaining.
And the deep thing about that, Elder, the deep thing about that is that we would have to forgive them.
Yeah, we would have to. If we rebuke and they say, listen, I admit we've done these things, what else could we do? We believe in Christ. They know we would forgive them.
Have to forgive them.
See, but guess what, folks? I'm going to tell you. It's like some people, they're out there, they feel they are entitled to do some of the things, the practice they're doing, and without receiving any level of pushback. See, but now they have what they need, Elder Lawyer. They have a reason to justify future aggression. But go on, Elder Lawyer. Finish your point before we open up the calls. I'm not going to stay here long here, but go on.
Yes, sir. Yeah, just finishing up that point. Another example that was provided was domestic work, where our sisters would have to go basically to town centers, similar to what the Issacharites do, where they'll go to certain points and they'll wait for someone to come pick them up for work. Well, our sisters used to have to do that. And an example of that, you see that in the movie, the Malcolm X movie, where he's standing on the ladder and he's speaking to a group of sisters. And you have white women sitting there telling them, well, I got 2 children and, this is the regiment, this is how the house needs, or this is the work I need you to do, so on and so forth. You see that scene in that movie.
Yeah.
Well, it actually mentions that in the book where you had sisters who would go and they would look for domestic work, domestic hiring, and you had people who are of a specific persuasion who would come in and hire them for work, but they wouldn't pay the wage. They would either pay extra low wages, or when it came time for the sisters, when the work was done, the sisters would seek the payment, and they would refuse or find a reason to refuse sisters the payment. So again, it's these abusive, oppressive, shady practices with our people like, hold up, man. How is it that these people of a certain persuasion, they're in our communities, They're in certain positions in our community over shop, over trade, over commerce, and things of that nature. And they're using these practices on us. And now when we start to speak up concerning it, now we're being looked at as somehow anti-Semitic.
And let me add something to that as well, elders. It's not just necessarily that particular group. I'm living in Jamaica and I'm seeing, other people outside of them come and do the same thing. Hire the people, them don't pay them, starve them out. You with me? And then when the people say something,
when they begin to a rebellion, when they begin to stand up,
then it's
protest.
Exactly. Then it's violence against that people, and you're doing this, and it's like, no, man, that's not the case. The people here are being oppressed. You understand? There's only it's only so much a man can take before him actually go and push back. You understand? And
Exactly.
and that's just natural. But they would use these instances of as photo ops, like you said, Elder, the optics, to try and spin a story to say, okay, then we have justified, we can now use justified force or violence coming against these people because they're extremists. Like, I think this article here is a very dangerous article. If you have this group of people who is now looking at it, and then with their influence, media wise and others, to then can start to let certain things, put certain things out in the air and let it actually happen. It's dangerous.
This is dangerous, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because Esau don't react to what they deem political aggression lightly. They don't react like we would react under certain circumstances. Right? If the KKK march down, down Broad Street, whatever they're going to march, as long as they don't touch us, we fine. They go about their business, we'll forget it happened. But they don't operate like that. And I'm going to show you where we are. We're from 2015. I'm going to jump back with you, Elder Lawyer. 2015, where you had this vocab guy who was supposed to be friends with an extremist at the job, trying to convince him not to become an extremist, only to be interviewed after the guy does an alleged terrorist attack. Then it pivots from Arab to black, and now this guy is the voice for black Hebrew Israelites right now when it comes to extremism. He slowly just cobbled his way or moved his way in. He came in unassuming, as if he was just interested at first. I'm just a Christian, just interested in your views. And really, he was in the spirit of a mole the whole time. Now listen to this. Here's the piece that's alarming. The 2020 now, don't forget what happened in 2020, folks. They shut everything down. Why? Listen. 2020 U.S. census put the black population at 41.4 million. So extrapolating from the Lifeway data, there are approximately 1.6 million Hebrew Israelites in the United States of America. This is what's alarming here. If they thought this or got to this number in 2026, based on people following social media, because folks, everyone out there who understand this knowledge isn't a part of a church or a group, and they know it. But it's the understanding of who you are. Just the thought of being an Israelite, they feel is an existential threat against the establishment. They have summed that there's 1.6 million Hebrew Israelites in America alone, not counting the small numbers of Latinos, Native Americans,
wow,
and 7.8 million people who may not identify as Israelites, but who agree with the spiritual movements main teachings.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem right there.
Man, this article have summed up everything that the Most High showed. Man, I was on that street before there was a YouTube. It was called, listen to me clearly, Path to the Mark. Path to the Mark. 2008, 2009, everything I said that was going to happen concerning this extremism, I told people it's not about George Bush or any of them. They're coming after our people in the awakening. They're priming the pumps for the whole world to come against us. And now they've migrated all of our ancient enemies and incentivized them as merchants to come into our communities to finish the job under immigration. Black and brown, this is their plan, folks. We have to watch the stuff they're peddling and giving our people who also belong to Israelite groups. 7.8 million people who may not identify as Israelites. They're smart by not doing that publicly. And I don't suggest anyone go to their jobs and say that they are. Who may not identify as Israelites, but who agree with the spiritual movement's main teachings. And folks, they feel that now they have to act on this. There's something they must do politically. This is an international conversation, folks. Let me tell you. If they're talking about this in Israel's news, this is getting discussed amongst the international summits for commerce.
That's a problem. Israelites affecting business now.
Here we go. Go ahead, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. I just want to wrap it up with this last point. I said all that to say that for a long time, they have been measuring or checking the pulse as it pertains to our relationship with this particular community. It seems like that someone is holding a big thermometer, and every so often they come out with these surveys and these reports to check the temperature between us and this community. And my question is why?
Hey, Ella Lawyer, check this out. What's hitting me here, right? Is Ella, can you just bring that up again, please? What's hitting me here is this. In 2020.
And 2020.
That's what's hitting me. So they would know, right, that with the whole lockdown of COVID, that number here has gone up.
Yeah.
That number gone up.
It's in the wake of what's happening with Kyrie, and then on top of that, they tried to put it back in the bag. No, Kyrie, come on back. He's gonna start Sunday, and before they can put it back in the bag, there was a march separate from anything that no one talked about. That Kyrie didn't know was going to happen, and now it's like boom.
If listen, check it.
Because this is what the media does. The media puts out in print what will be discussed to shape future legislation. They have to put it out in the press first. So now they can push bills amongst the politicians to make rules.
Rules of engagement.
Which will stifle what they would call, extremist views. But I digress on that. But go on.
Yeah, because all right, check it. If you have 41 million blacks, in America, right, and 1.6 million of the 41 million are Israelites, known Israelites, right, and that 41 million, that 1.6 million is influencing 7.8 million people who may not identify as that.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
That's a big problem.
A 700% influence.
Yes.
So one man influenced 700.
Listen, man. I'm gonna show you how big it is. This is how big it is. It was just us and a few guys in the early 90s on a corner. And the number of people in Philadelphia was about 5.5 million. our congregation could fill up Philadelphia, only 2 of these rooms we're sitting in right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you think they didn't see the multiplication here?
Mm-hmm.
These guys start off little, totally dismissed and ignored, and now look at this. This is what happens if they go unchecked. Now, this is what I have to say. Elder Lawyer, I need you to make your point out, because there's one thing I want to say, because some people might think, well, man, Elder Ricard, what are you saying? Is he scared about what's going to happen? Folks, scared? I told people in 2008, 2009, before there was YouTube, it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not scared, but I'm going to show you where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show you where this, I'm not afraid at all. Okay? But the same way it was prophetic from 2009, I'm going to let you know where it's going. Because with that knowledge, I would understand how to operate with such power that would come through the knowledge I'm an Israelite. You must, that's right. With much is given, much is required with that power. Mm-hmm. And you better walk righteously and wise with that knowledge. Mm-hmm. It's not about being scared. It's not about being any of that. The question is, if Christ was living today and it happened, what would he have done in the midst of Kyrie and Kanye and all that? See? And this is what we have to realize. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. You don't give the enemy fuel against your own people. Mm-hmm. It isn't wise. Mm-hmm. You never do that. Especially that's what they're looking for. They was looking for a strong presence they can claim could now be a threat. Because usually when they put that in the media, mm-hmm. if it's not out there, if they can't get an event, folks, they will create an event.
Mm-hmm. Like Christ said to Peter, man, you'll put the sword down. You're going to get us all killed with that sword. You're going to get these guys killed. If you come off with these guys with the sword, you're going to get everybody here killed.
Exactly.
Put the sword away, Peter.
It's not time.
Not time.
It's not time.
Mm-hmm.
Elder Lawyer, make your point, because I need to make that point in the Bible real quick before transitioning.
No, I'm done.
Okay, so let me read this real quick. And then we'll open up the lines for like 15 minutes, and then we'll open up the calls. Let me tell you, I pray for all my brothers and sisters in the awakening. I pray for the brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter what group someone might be affiliated with. Because at the end of this internet stuff, there will be no groups. There will be no, let me tell you, the internet just was what? It was made possible because Satan knew he has a short time and he had to do a lot of work in a short amount of time and needed these computers. Mm-hmm. Okay. And we made names for ourselves because it was needed on the internet to brand for an identifier. But when all these things are said and done, there will be no churches. There will be no groups. It's going to be the nations against the children of Israel. Mm-hmm. Because that's all it has ever been. Mm-hmm. That's the biblical narrative of what I'm saying right now. So this is why they, in their articles, Southern Poverty Law Center, allegedly yellow journalism, right? The Philos Project, yellow third journalism, what you would call Zionist media material. Mm-hmm. They all are saying the same thing and mentioning the same groups on purpose. Listen to this, and then I'm going to open up the lines for a minute. And Elder Lawyer, you can say something on it if you'd like, because I know we have to go. right here. This is my thoughts on everything. Matthew 10 and 16. Let me go there. I'm only going to be here a few minutes. We have a lot to do tomorrow. Matthew 10 and 16. This is Christ. This is our Lord and Savior. Okay? This is our Lord and Savior. If you really believe in Christ, then what? You should walk as Christ and those who are in Christ. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be you therefore what? Wise as servants, wise as serpents, and harmless as doves. It's not about being afraid. It's about being wise. Christ said in 17, but beware of men. He's telling you right now.
Watch out.
If you're not walking in my guidance, you're going to have something. You're going to have something to contend with. You have to beware of men, for they will deliver you up to councils and they will scourge you in their synagogues.
Bible.
Let me tell you something, folks. All praises be to the Most High. I hope that the brother Tazadak here, I hope that the Most High received him in paradise. I had no affiliation with him. He was never someone over me when I was in UPK and all those things. After I was gone, he made himself the comforter, whatever the thing. But a lot of people don't know, folks, what happened that really put a target on even Tazadakia. He was in New Jersey at a conference and he said something with brothers raising their hands about what they're going to do and how they're going to take down the white man and all that at a conference in Jersey. And guess what? The conference hall called the authorities. And next thing you know, a domino effect. We can't be here talking about what we're going to do. Man, listen, we're not into that. This is time for the gathering. This is time to get our souls together and our communities together. And it's not to oppose government. Christ, in the Most High that we serve, gave Esau this world for a time.
Until the time be fulfilled.
Until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
This is his kingdom, man.
It's not being afraid, it's being wise. Now, because if you're not wise, we'll have this. Last scripture, Acts 5. Acts 5 and 35. If you're not wise, and we're living in the Acts again. We're living that time again. Acts 5 and 35 reads, and said unto them, ye men of Israel. This is talking about Israelites, folks. It's not talking about what group you're from. Ye men of Israel, take heed to yourselves that ye intend to do as touching these men. He was talking about the apostles. For he's talking about touching those who believe in Christ. Truly. The baptism, the laying on of hands, the apostleship, getting our people together. 36. For before these days rose up Theudas. Now you can read about him in the Josephus. Boasting himself to be somebody to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who was slain, and all as many obeyed him were scattered and brought to naught. And after this, man rose up Judas of Galilee in the days of the taxing, and drew away much people after him. He also dispersed, and all, even as many obeyed him, were dispersed. And guess what? The Josephus breaks it down. Where these guys thought because they didn't believe in the resurrection and others, that they would come together to oppose the Roman government in rank publicly. Read the story in the Josephus. They made a public showing before the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire figured that these young men who was being shown before their government in rank could grow and become a threat who would one day avenge their forefathers whom the Romans enslaved or destroyed. History is replete, brothers and sisters. You wise as servants, harmless as doves. You don't operate outside. You don't make no command to have any men go anywhere until Christ returns, outside of bringing forth the gospel.
Yeah, man, but that was the first thing that Christ said. When they came back, they asked him, is it time? And he goes, no, man, that's not you to worry about that. Don't worry about that. That's the Father's business. He told them in Acts 1, when they saw him for 40 days, he said, no, man, don't worry about that. Worry about this. I send you out there. Go teach a nation, baptize them.
Yes, baptize. And listen, I pray for the brothers. I pray for all of our people. But at the end of the day, we must walk in Christ. Even if the opportunity is edging us to, is moving us to the contrary. As an opportunity.
Hey, real quick, let me get a quick story off of this.
Yeah, and then we're gonna open up the lines.
In Jamaica, about over 10 years ago, about 12 years ago, right? There was an incursion in what them call one of the garrisons, one of the ghettos.
Yeah.
And the media, right, spun it and said, you know something? This is the most dangerous place in the Western Hemisphere. This gangster is the deadliest gangster in the world, Do you know how long it took the military to take them down?
What's that?
Less than a minute. The military took them down in less than a minute. Less than 1 minute. They took them down. And the media spun it on them that they were dangerous, wicked, evil.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Yeah.
It's the same thing now. So if we allow this to happen for the media, because we don't own no media networks, to propagate something against us, that's not true. A lot of people can and will get hurt.
Yeah.
You with me? And that we don't need that for anybody. What we need right now is to wake the people them up.
Yeah.
And gather them and say, yo, listen, don't worry, man. This kingdom, the kingdom of heaven is near.
Yeah.
This kingdom is about to fall. It's falling.
Yeah.
And we just keep it moving. And
I'm going to show you where it's at. I'm sorry, Elder, but say what you have to say.
No, sure. Go ahead.
Because I'm going to show you where it's at now. I'm going to show you where it's at. Why? When you pull up this guy who is behind now a pivotal person into segueing from Islam extremists to Israelism, because that's some stuff they made up. There's no such thing as Hebrew Israelism. That doesn't exist. When you go to his page, look what he have. Look what he have. What is he talking about?
We're just getting started.
Hold up. Listen. Look at his videos. Right? Now, let's go here to the lives and check this out. What is he talking about? Nothing but what? Hebrew Israelism. Hebrew Israelites. That's all he talks. Listen, this guy has nothing to do with our community. But he's all there with where our people are, imposing his shield will on our people. Look, that's all he does.
If I saw something there with IUIC, these IUIC should try and get legal action for him using their images and take it off of the channel. You with me?
See, but you cannot do that as public figures.
Right. Okay.
You cannot do that as public figures. Now, if he says something that's liable, that's defamation,
right?
Then they can take action. One thing he said, and we had our people just send something and say, listen, what you're doing is defamation, and listen, we ready to go. And you know what he did? He took that off his page. Because what I was going to find out is not who he is. Who is your handlers?
Yeah, who your boss? Yep. Makes sense.
So you have to see if he's saying something that's defamation. Now, if he use your own words when you speak, there's nothing that anyone can say about it, because why? He'll take clips of something outlandish, or he may deem false doctrine or threatening, and he'll have you say it. Mm-hmm. And that lets me know that he's operating not by himself, but with a legal team. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He know exactly how to do this. Just like he'll put up Tahar and let Tahar say something, yeah, and he'll just let him say it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Understood.
And say, well, okay, these are the people that you believe.
Look at that.
That's all he do. That's all he does. That's all he does. This is his mission. His whole point is to now move the extremism from Israel. He don't even talk about Muslims anymore. Mm-hmm. To Israelites. Yeah. They done made up a word, Hebrew Israelism, that doesn't exist. Look, that's all he talks about. And don't forget, folks, before we open the line, don't forget.
The fortitude of his faith in this video clip. Take a listen.
It recharges your iman as well. When you come together and you pray 5 times a day with the brothers, provides for you a form of weaponry to go out into the real world.
Simpson
and
called
use that
Bin Laden a
weaponry
hero.
to shield you against the tricks of the shaitan.
Now, friends say he converted to Islam while he was in high school to basically stay out of trouble. That's why his family supported him in his choices, that he continued to study it as he became an older man. We also interviewed a pastor friend of his. Yes, an evangelical pastor. They were friends at work. They debated theology often.
I thought it was
and even though it doesn't make sense to many
friends
people,
at work. What
this
work are they doing?
pastor believes that this violence in Texas,
You know, Ella,
that it
man,
may
you know
have
what?
felt
Let me let's pause this for a sec. Let me pause it. And I'm putting it out there. This is my opinion, right?
Listen, we don't even know if this. I don't
if it even happened.
I don't even know if it even happened.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even know if it even happened.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Who knows?
It's crazy, bro. This doesn't make sense.
I was surprised, but not shocked. I wouldn't put it past him because I understood the sincerity of his beliefs.
What the hell?
And he had expressed to me admiration, specifically for Osama bin Laden. He used the word hero.
Hold up. Is he trying to be up? Hold up. Sorry, let me dissect this again. I'm sorry. Let me just pull this up again. Is he supposed to be wearing an afro right here?
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, man. He's hip hop, man. He's part of the culture, man.
Sorry, man. Let me just. Sorry.
Listen, man. He's part of the culture, man.
Many people.
You know,
this pastor
he's a
believes
rapper.
That this violence in Texas, that it may have felt like a logical step for Elton Simpson. Here's what he says.
I was surprised, but not shocked. I wouldn't put it past him because I understood the sincerity of his beliefs. And he had expressed to me admiration, specifically for Osama bin Laden. He used the word hero.
And you know we have an IMBD page too.
It's like a movie. He's an actor.
Yeah, IMBD. If you register as an actor,
yeah,
he has a page.
He's an actor.
So listen, allegedly, but but here it is. Now they done switched the narrative. Here we go. Now they're going to use him just to stoke the flames, but then the legislation come forth. Because in the legislation, it talks about how somebody can be radicalized in that article of Israel online to harm their people. And they need to get in front of it as soon as possible.
Legislation to shut down the internet of Israelites being online, because that's where, according to the survey, that's where the social media is 50%, it's 40-something% of where the information come from. So we need legislation now to stop Israelites from being online,
because they feel that's the fishing tool, that's the catalyst, that's the area of where all of these negative sentiments are coming from, getting radicalized against Semites.
So like you said, listen, this internet thing is only temporary.
It's temporary. We got to do what we have to do,
and then
get ready for the wilderness.
For bounce.
But that's just one step. But once the lights go out and you don't have the camera to protect you anymore, is where the real damage will be done by the powers who shouldn't be. It will not be televised. It will not be filmed, but they have to get people, because cameras have been our saving grace for so long since Rodney King. But once they got you in the dark, that's when it happens. But I digress. All right, let's open up a few calls. We're going to just take calls for 15 minutes. We have a lot to do tomorrow. And I thank you all. Please join the Hebrew Bible Academy. And some people wanted to know what my opinion on all that was. My opinion is Christ. He sent you out as what? Sheep among wolves. Be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. That's it. That's it. You can't take a scenario and then try to do what? Have opportunity off of it. It has nothing to do with that. You must be wise. Or deal with what comes with not walking and doing things with the word according to Christ. Let me open up the lines real quick. So I pray for all of them, but hey, here we go. Here we go. All right, 515-605-9327. Okay, they're already on. They're already there. Okay. All right, let me open up the lines here. 1 second here. All right, Elder Lawyer, 1 second. I'm going to add a call, okay? Now, there's more, but I'll just go into it.
Sir.
I'll go into it in the academy. I'll deal with it in the academy, right? Because there's other things I want to go into, but it's too much. I know Shapat has the news. Come join us this Sunday, folks, and we'll be, so that we can really dive into some of this information and not be, because, there's certain things we can't say on this thing. All right.
And just putting it out there for the people in the UK who would like to get in touch, send the emails. You can email the church in the UK at gocc144uk@gmail.com.
What is it?
gocc144uk@gmail.com.
And that's if they're in the UK.
That's if in the UK. They can get in touch. I saw somebody ask.
We're sorry, but the toll-free number for this show is currently full. You can call in to listen to this show by dialing the number
515-605-9327.
That number again is
515-605-9327.
Or you can listen to the show on blogtalkradio.com.
Oh, no, we can't do that. Hey, let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can go in there. 1 moment. All right, Elder Lawyer, let me call in, and I'll bring you right back in, okay? It's not allowing me to. All right. 1 second. Let me call in. Let's see. Okay. That's why. 1 second. $60.05.
Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
Okay, I'm in. I'm in. All right, Lawyer.
Unmuted.
All right, thank you, Elder Ramar. Let me hear what the people have to say on this. Where Lawyer at? Right here. This one, right? Oh, 2 hours ago it's here. Hold on, Elder Lawyer. All right, there you go. All right, we're live, 515-605-9327. Elder Shapat is on the line. Where is it? Where he at? Shapat,
Shalom, Elder.
what you got? Feel like one of those Peace FM nights,
I'm
ain't
doing great. Oh, yes.
Yo, cuz, how you doing?
I miss all you. Man, I miss all you guys. I'm really sorry I can't be there, but you know, things are moving, literally. But yeah, wow. Brothers and sisters, if you're not in the academy, Lord, in the morning.
Oh, show on now.
Lord.
Show on. Historytimes.org.
Yes, you got to be in it to win it. But you touched on so much, Elder. And you know what? You kind of saved me one of the big stories for this upcoming academy. So I have to thank you for that. But I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in for, especially for the new brothers and sisters.
Okay.
You know, what you said about Christ's words about being wise as serpents, harmless as doves. For some that can go over their heads, you know, the scriptures tell us to look at other animals like ants, for example, with the wisdom they have on collecting food in the summertime. Hint, hint, brothers and sisters, store your food. That's their wisdom from ants. What's the wisdom of serpents? Well, they specifically move to not be seen by their enemies. We ought to do the same, like Elder's mentioning, regardless of circumstance. That's the serpent's wisdom. They do not be seen by their enemies.
And that's what it means, wise as serpents, harmless as doves. You don't want to put out anything threatening that can be used against you in word. That's number one.
Right.
But wise as serpents, serpents are dangerous, but yet they move not to be seen by the what? The prey or the enemy.
Right.
They move.
Right.
And the word I think you have here, you're thinking about here, with caution. They move with caution. And I said it over and over again. And let me tell you, we all got that same Bible. How many times I've said, folks, there's nothing for anyone. I mean, I'm going to put it, listen, we could have got people in all white many days and just thousands upon thousands who were baptized and just go out. But that ain't the thing. Because Esau see that being a cunning hunter as a show of force. What do Esau do? This is what he does before every war. He does exercises on the border of the land to warn them. And if the political establishment backs off, they go back home. So you don't show, that's right, you don't show an exercise while Esau is looking without what? Without them thinking that there's an act of force behind it. Even if you're innocent.
Even if there's no force, he's going to treat it as such.
Because that's how he rolls. If you show yourself in numbers, that's what? The first stage of warfare.
It's engagement.
It's an engagement.
Yep. And on that warfare, last thing, I know there's, I'd rather give the time for the brothers and sisters, but on the warfare, it's very interesting in the article. You know they love their numbers. It's very interesting, the 4%. Why is that interesting?
Yeah.
In that survey, the Times of Israel article referencing the survey you pulled out tonight, Elder.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when you look at the scriptures, 90% ain't going to make it of Israel.
Yeah.
10% will make it to the wilderness. But then of that 10%, 2/3 are, might be family members, might be those that you thought were in the truth, but not really in the truth. Only 1/3 of the 10% is actually going to make it alive.
Yeah.
So that's 3.3%. If you were to round that up, that's 4%.
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Anyway, I yield.
Thank you, Shapat.
I can't wait to see you all soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you're gonna be with us in spirit tomorrow. I know you're dealing with personal, but yeah, we're gonna talk, and I'll see you Sunday.
All right.
All right.
Love you all, man. Shalom.
Man. Shalom.
Yeah, we love you, man. Shalom.
Ellie, I'm gonna be in the academy on Sunday. Right? I'm gonna be here.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Well, let's do it together.
Yeah.
Let's do it together, man. Hey, get these books out on this table. I got books all over the place. Got this long table. Let's get it. Let's get her in. Let's get her in.
Let's bring it.
All right, now the first time something like this has happened. Yeah, I'm excited about that. William has a comment. Let me make it clear though. I pray for all of our people. Okay, when you see people showing force and all that and marching, that's all. But Esau already told you. The cat's out of the bag. There's almost 2 million Israelites who has awakened. A lot of people are wise as serpents. The real army of Israel is sitting back not saying anything. Mm-hmm. They're listening to the teachers and will be there when it's time once the internet is done. Mm-hmm. See, Esau been taking real numbers and checking out what people been viewing and saying, listen, there's millions of them. If there's millions of them in America, the cat's out of the bag. The Israelites are back. What are we to do to contend against them? What we need is what? We need publicly a show of aggression. The things that happen with the market trying to tie that to Israelites in the community, Israelites, the subway thing, but none of that had wheels where they can claim that there was some aggression being shown. But now they have what they've been looking for. Mm-hmm. And like I said, if it doesn't happen naturally, they'll probably, for the media, have to create it. Mm-hmm. But they don't even have to create this one. They don't even have to make it up. It was the gift that they were waiting for. So I'm going to pray for all of them.
Christmas came early.
Yeah, and they don't even celebrate it. Christmas came early for them. 585 area code.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom. How are you, sir? William.
I'm doing well, Elder. I just first and foremost, I just want to give all praise due to the Most High for you and the brothers that are doing the excellent work.
Praise
and also, Elder, I just want to give them thanks for the way you conduct yourself with the rabbi. Just real quick, one interesting thing I found that when you were talking with the rabbi is that how he continued to talk about the anti-Semitism on one hand, but on the other hand, I thought what was real interesting to me was how when you were discussing with him how we were the lost tribes, the lost 12 tribes, and he had made a comment to how, and I've watched other videos of how, how he was kind of happy because now that, that we're being identified, we would be able to go back to Israel and fight, and fight on Israel's behalf. And I thought that was kind of the statement he made. I thought that it really turned me a different way because on one hand it was like, okay, if you believe in prophecy and everything that we're talking about, the word never says that we are to come back under you all and to serve you and to fight in order for Israel to be reestablished. And also, I just wanted to see if there was a church where I could get baptized.
Well, of course, there's a place you can get baptized, brother. Where do you stay? Where are you?
Rochester, New York. I'm in New York.
Rochester, New York. Okay, one moment. Okay, this is what I'm going to do, brother. Do me a favor, Elder. There an ink pen that it fall? Oh, here it is. Just write down his number and put New York next to it, and I'll have Shamar reach him, Bishop Shamar reach him. Okay. You have it right here?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so don't hang up. He's writing down your number, okay?
All right.
And Bishop Shamar will call you up. And his name is William, New York, okay? Mm-hmm. My brother. Okay, let's go to the next call. 757. I'm going to reach you in a moment. I'll bring you in. 270 area code. I hope to see you all in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. First installment, first week. It's best to be in early so you don't have to wait to catch up. You're in it. We have people working around the clock. I want to see you all Sunday morning. 270 area code. You're live.
Shalom, Elder.
Hi, Tyler.
How are you doing? Yeah, I'm the guy you told about the beef bacon, man, and I really appreciate that, by the way.
I'm the one who told you about the beef bacon? The what?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A couple months ago.
It's working, ain't it?
Oh, man, yeah. That stuff is great, man.
Let me tell
I
you.
haven't had that in a couple of years until you
tell
told
you,
me the trick about the cutting it thin.
The best thing you can do with the beef bacon, if you're going to do it right, you'll never eat pork bacon ever again or even think about it. Go to a butcher.
I haven't eaten pork in 6 years. Yeah. I haven't done that in a while.
Great. Go to a butcher and say, I want my beef bacon cut thin. And
that's what you told me, and that's what I've been doing.
Lord,
that's what
have
I've been
mercy.
doing. Yeah, I've been doing that for the past 2 months.
Man, let me tell you, throw that thing on.
I've been making them homemade biscuits with it, man. I eat that for breakfast every single day, man. Let me tell you.
Hey, I'm about to do that. Talk to me.
But I ain't mean to get off subject, man. I just had to remind you who I was.
I'm getting hungry right now, but go on. I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm gonna be eating that in the next 12 hours.
Okay.
But no, man. I just wanted to say, man. Me coming to the knowledge of this truth, man. I studied history in the university for like 6 years because, to be honest with you, I was in a 4-year program, but I was waiting for a DUI to get expunged that I got when I was 21, so I took 2 extra years. So I got a lot of knowledge in history.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have came into the knowledge of the truth. And I mean, if it wasn't for, and I'm only going to say this lightly, if it wasn't for my son getting injured by certain pokes and being autistic, I probably wouldn't have pieced everything together. You know what I mean? And I just want to put this out there. As far as Israelites being hateful or this, that, or whatever, I'm going to tell you right now, man, and it's also funny, too, that Lifeway had a Christian store in my town, and they disappeared after 2020, but that's another story. But anyway, a lot more people know that they're Israelites than what they're saying.
Yeah.
They're just not just not speaking about it because they're scared or because they don't want to be associated with, the new black Nazis or whatever,
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
But brother, go on.
No. What I was gonna say is though, but as far as y'all being a hate group, even before I found y'all, there's a lot of Israelites. I mean, they're misguided in their doctrines and stuff like that, which I came to find out later. But they're not hateful. It's a very, very, very small, and I mean teeny tiny. It's like KKK being with white Christians. That's how small compared to the other Israelites that hate anybody. I mean, that's the best comparison.
Let me say, typically, Israelites are peaceful people. Typically, the whole deal is
exactly.
What I'm saying is, when I say typically, now, of course, there's some out there who may expound, vulgarity or what they would call racial rhetoric against other groups of people. But really, that's the extent of their aggression. There's no threat of Israelites doing anything physically to no one. And guess what? Even IUIC is typically, and they are, a peaceful group. They're peaceful.
I got friends in IUIC. So I know that.
Yeah, they're peaceful, right? I'm
I
done.
mean,
Listen. We're peaceful.
Listen. I mean, whatever. I choose to follow y'all.
Listen, what I'm saying is,
whatever.
Listen, we're peaceful. Israelite Church of UPK, Yohanan and them, they're a little hard when they speak, but all in all, they're peaceful. I know Yohanan personally; he wouldn't hurt anyone. So the whole deal is not that in particular. Then you still have to walk wise, knowing what the enemy is looking to use against you. Okay.
Let me say this, man. If anything, man, y'all are more of a threat to each other than y'all are to any other race of people. Let's just be real here. I mean, if anything at all. I
Yeah.
mean, come on, y'all don't threaten anybody.
Of course,
Never have, never will.
But guess what? Amalek knows this, but
spinning it
he's going to spin it. That's why it's media spin the Israelites awakening. Because they can't control it, they're going to what? Spin the narrative to destroy. Thank you, my brother.
This is what I was gonna say earlier. Blessings call is that the KKK. No Israelite has never lynched, murdered anybody.
Exactly.
Never happened. It will never happen. Israelites believe in Christ and the teachings of Christ. Yes, we have Israelites that will sprout certain rhetoric, but like you said, by and large, 99.9% we're not violent, exercising violence against anybody.
Yeah.
But they will get an image. Okay? They will get an image and put it out there saying that this is a threat of violence. A 1,000-man standing up march is a threat. That they're going to come and do something.
Exactly. Right now it's nonviolent, but what will it become? That's where they're going.
That's where they're going with it.
They can spin it any way they want.
Exactly.
Okay? Just like for instance, the agent there, that guy, whoever he is, vocab or whatever he is, he put up a clip of one of the brothers from one of these groups saying that when, making jokes, when Christ come back and he bring back Queen Elizabeth, that's what the brother said, quote unquote. He's going to put Queen Elizabeth, a dead woman who's everyone dead knows she's dead, in slavery. Now, that may seem outlandish and crazy on the surface, right? Of course. So he'll take clips like that and show that to what? An innocent, God-believing Christian or a white-believing evangelical Christian. And they'll be like, listen, if this guy believes that he's going to take a white woman who's dead and bring her into captivity, okay, what do you think he's going to do to you? See, so that's why you have to be wise as serpents, harmless doves. They'll use little clips like that, which is utterly ridiculous in of itself, speaking stuff like that. You're not even going to know if you're going to make it to the other side concerning what you're going to do on the other side. But they'll take radical things like that. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people who are naturally afraid.
Same thing they did with COVID.
Yeah, these people are afraid.
Yeah, they're scared of people.
Yeah, so you put a clip out like that, and this guy dressed, he got spikes on and all that, and talking about he's going to take the queen and put her, after he's going to drag her in chains and put her in captivity. Like, whoa, what do we do? Is that what Israelites believe? The few percent who haven't took enough time to actually look into it are going to look at this and say, oh my God.
What's going on here?
This is what are we going to do about this? They call it a congressman and everything. What the? I like the queen. The queen never did anything to anyone. Folks, I'm going to tell you, that's how they do it. And this guy here, that devil we showed, that's behind switching the narrative from Islam to our people, he has every clip you can name that's outlandish, just like that, and packaged it all to be the go-to page if you want to understand why governments need to now oppose Israelites by any means necessary. All right, next call. You can say anything you would like at any time, Elder Lawyer. 213 area code.
Hey, what's up, Elder? How you doing today?
I'm blessed, Israel. Comment. I mean, Israel.
Yes, man. It's good to hear from you, man.
Yes.
I just had a couple of quick things to say, brother. I had been thinking about y'all, man, and it was something about One West, man, the spirit that the Most High put on y'all, man, in that school, because when it comes to you, Nathaniel, Johanna, Daniel Holler, Zabak, the influence that y'all have on bringing the truth was, I mean, I can't even put it into words. It was so powerful. The movement is so big. And so when I seen IUIC there, the first thing that came to my mind, and forgive me because I'm a little hyped up, but
okay,
was Joshua 2 and 9. And it reads, and she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. Verse 10, for we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. 11, and as soon as we heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you, for the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and in the earth beneath. What do you think about that, Elder?
Okay, how are you relating that to what you say, the brothers marching in New York? That's the scripture you got on that?
Yes, I related that because of the fear that you could see on the other nations and the people, the fear that they had about seeing the men of the Lord marching.
You know
the
what?
Fear that's falling upon the whole earth.
Listen, I'll tell you this. That's an admirable view of it. But you have to look at it from a different vantage point, right? Where is it in the scriptures where Christ said do that? Who's coming back with who's coming back with Christ's army?
The Messiah.
Who led Joshua against the Amorites?
Ahijah.
Brother,
brother,
that was Christ in the cloud. It tell you that in the book of Romans.
That was Christ in the cloud.
Let's read it. That was Christ leading Joshua. Joshua could not have done anything unless he was led through Christ. Let's read it real quick. I'm going to show you this.
Okay, I'm listening, Elder. Okay, thank you.
Hold up, stay. I'm going to show you something. Let's get it in Corinthians.
Yes, sir. I'm right here, Elder.
I'm going to show you something. Now, you know what? That's admirable.
Let me read this here. In 1 Corinthians 10 and 1.
You got it?
Yes, sir.
Let's get it. 1 Corinthians what?
10.
Hold up. Let me get it here so they can see it. And guess what? It's admirable how you're viewing it. That's the good way of viewing it. But but what's going on? What went there wasn't Joshua bringing us against the Amorites, destroying the Amorites and going into the promised land. Okay? I'm going to show you who led us. 1 Corinthians 10. Let's read it here. 1 Corinthians 10. Moreover, brethren, first verse. Read it, Elder.
Moreover, brethren, I would not have you be ignorant. Sorry, let me read it off the screen here. It's big.
No, I got it.
Go ahead.
Read it.
It says, moreover, brethren, I would not that you should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and passed through the sea. Verse 2. And were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and all did eat the same spiritual meat, and did drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ.
That rock was what?
Was Christ.
That was Christ who parted the Red Sea, brother, and led Moses. That was Christ who gave us water and manna. Okay? He led Joshua.
Okay. Yes,
no
sir.
army can be led in this earth that represents Israel if our king isn't at the helm. Okay?
Yes, sir. Understandable.
All right, but that's admirable. And you know what? If anything, there is a positive aspect. The only positive aspect I can see in that is that, if anything, it can encourage brothers and sisters to not be ashamed of proclaiming who they are as people. That's the one thing I can look at that and say, you know what? If a young man who's in the street or doing something wrong, right? If he can see that as an alternative to follow the commandments, be a good family man, do what's right and turn his community. If it's a sign for that, I can see the positives in that. But then we have to understand, we have to weigh what it is. We have to weigh it.
Let me read one more precept, please.
Go ahead, read it.
I'm in Revelation 19, verse 11, and it says here, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he doeth judge and make war. Verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire. If you're wondering who this is, his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had the name written that no man knew but himself. And he was clothed in a vesture dipped with blood, and his name was called the Word of the Most High. So who's the Word? Who's coming to Edom in dyed garments?
That's Christ.
That's Christ. So when it's time for that, when it's time, Christ will do it.
Christ will lead.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Our mission right now is what Christ said, go out into the nation, teach first, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
That's our mission. That's what we are charged to do. You with me? The aggression, we can't check it. I was talking earlier today with you, Elder, about was telling about in the States and the shooting range and all of these things and the military might of Edom. What Edom possessed. This is Edom's blessing.
He's a hunter.
He's a hunter. This is his kingdom.
Yeah.
You understand? We cannot overthrow his kingdom. No. Christ takes over the kingdom. Christ leads us into the lands that we need to go into. He led us out of Egypt. Fire by night, pillar cloud by day.
Yeah. Yeah. There it is. And so, like I said, and when I look at what I read in Acts, the men who tried to go before the king, eventually the government came in and that whole band was scattered. I hope that's not the case, but the scriptures are what? Replete. They're straight on. Christ says, with this word, which is powerful, you must be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Understand all actions brings forth a reaction. And if that action isn't in Christ, it will have a what? A counter reaction, a negative reaction to something that you can deem positive, that we thought was something encouraging. Okay? 757 area code.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, sir. We're doing rapid fire. We're going through because I have to be up in a few hours. The floor is yours. Your name?
I got you, Elder. Brother Lee from DOCCVA.
Bless you.
Bless you. My condolences to Brother Dwayne and his family.
Thank you, brother.
DOCC body.
Thank you.
I just want to say, Esau is a cunning hunter. He's a cunning hunter, and you remember you said, Elder, that you was waiting to see what was going to happen, and you did the survey. I think you did it in the academy.
Yes.
I can almost say that this whole thing that's going on with Kanye and Kyrie Irving, I think it's a line that Amalek threw out there and to see who's going to bite on it. Because you said that during this election time, what was going to be the next narrative? And Esau's a cunning hunter, and everybody if you notice, if you take notice, when Houdini said, "I'm gonna take this back to my leaders, I'm gonna
Harry Houdini. I'm gonna tell you, Gaja came up with that term. Houdini, but go ahead. Harry Houdini. He gave him that term. But go on. That's why he's laughing.
When he said, "I'm gonna take this back to my elders, to my rabbis and everything," he's no different than Vocab Malone. Yeah. Only thing Esau is doing is studying his prey. So the more we give them this time, they know exactly who we are. They just want to know what they can use against us, our own words, so they can go back. Because that's all Vocab Malone is doing. We don't need them to tell us who we are.
Oh yeah, we don't need
Christ
that.
is already telling us who we are. But so they taking what we tell them and they taking those words and going back. Okay, they looking through their Talmud, the scriptures and all that, trying to reflect on what we saying to turn that against us. Well, not against us, to people who don't understand, that's not on the level that we on, in this walk with Christ. So they taking that and using that against us. So
Mm.
when every time we give them an interview, we giving them weapons. Because that's all Esau does. Esau studies his. I'm ex-military. I know what the government does. They study, they pray first. They study and they throw little bits and pieces out there and see who bites. Then they come back and what they doing is doing we call it
Reconnaissance, yeah.
That's what they doing. They studying us. They did it with COVID-19. They did it with the jab, doing the cold scenario, because everything shut down, like you said, in 2019 when they figured out when they had that Native American Indian out there on the Capitol, and those guys from Sakari was talking to that guy, and they had the little guy with a mega hat on. They was going back and forth. They were studying us way before then, and they said, "Look, we got to shut this thing down."
Mm.
And they shut it down, and then when everything opened back up, we came back out throwing blows.
You see,
and the only thing they did was pause it for a minute.
Hey, check this, brother.
Just to study us.
Let me jump in here real quick. I
Yes,
believe, sir, and this is my opinion, that the whole shutting down of the earth, right, the way in which they did it, was because of Israelite rising. Thinking that and this is my opinion right now, thinking that shutting down the earth would actually stop or slow down the momentum of what was going on, and it actually did the opposite. Because now you see, as soon as the place is opening up back now, we're getting the Kanyes, the Kyries, all of these people.
It slowed it up. That was the whole conversation before things were shut down. Yeah.
So now it opened up back. It has doubled, because check it out, man. And rest in peace to my brother, man. I pray the Most High receive my brother. Right? I love that brother. And I'm gonna tell you something, brother. You know, during the pandemic, that brother taught every day.
Dwayne.
Every day.
Yes.
That brother taught every
Elder God,
day.
I came in studying. The twins were the first ones. The twins were the ones that brought me to GOCC.
Oh my goodness!
In 2013, 2014.
All right, my brother.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Bless you, my brother.
Blessings, man, and praises to the Most High. Let me tell you, man, them brothers taught every day. There was more classes going on in the pandemic than outside of the pandemic, because we had a class on Monday to Friday, Sabbath, and then a Sabbath class, and then Elder would do the academy on the Sunday. We had a Wednesday broadcast, so it blew up, and it did the opposite. I believe, like I said, I'm putting this out as my opinion. It did the opposite than of what they thought it would have done by shutting the earth down. Okay, let's shut the earth down, and they can't go on the streets anymore. Yo, listen, the internet was open up.
Yeah. And what happened? What happened? If anything, the churches never came back. The churches were decimated.
Exactly.
But guess what?
We grew.
We grew. The churches grew. Israelites grew. Those who was coming to the knowledge of Christ, they were leaving the churches, coming to the truth of gathering with those who believe, who were like-minded.
Those broadcasts that we did on Peace FM, and when people said the place locked down, and we had said it was going to lock down 6, 7, 8 years ago, people came and go, yo.
I remember.
Where are these guys now? Where are they?
We told them we was locking down, right?
Yeah, we told them. We said, right? Listen, a time is going to come when the government going to tell you to stay in your house, don't come out. And it happened just like that, without warning. Without warning. It was good today, and then tomorrow, flights, everything just stopped. It just stopped. This is it. So when you look at the 2009 survey, then come with 2020 saying they have this numbers and that numbers, that they believe it's and check this out. I'm looking over here, Elder, right? At the views here. I'm just checking that out. And when we used to do radio, we used to have a thing that was said that for every text that we got, there was 100 people listening that never text. That's what the
y'all had data that lets you know.
Yeah. So for every person,
for the ratio,
for every one person that sent a text in, there was 100 more that never responded. that never said nothing, was just sat there listening into what was going on. So if you convert that over now to the church, for every one member that comes into the church, right, there's 100 people there sat looking, watching.
I can see that.
Yes.
People might think that 1-something million is outlandish, but Esau have the data.
Yes.
He can tell through interactions and the algorithms that these people are leaning more towards believing they're Israelites.
That's why I said that number, that 1.6 million, right?
Yeah.
And they say 7 million that agree with it. That is the margin of error that they're making here is less than 3%. You with me? It is.
Hey, Elder, before I go.
Yes.
Before I go, Elder, only thing Esau has to do, he can look at the numbers just by the views of everybody that's watching every camp, GOCC. He can just count those numbers and tell exactly how many people.
Yeah.
It's
and
that
only that,
simple.
and on top
It's
of
that
that,
simple.
on top of that, he's also checking out the roles of Christians that are blacks that are leaving the churches.
Yes.
Don't forget the mega churches now are predominantly mixed race and all that, but really there's no community churches of number anymore that has any political influence. It's over.
And
for black churches.
What just came to me as well, you have to remember as well the impact of of the knowledge of being an Israelite, what it's having on society. He's seen those stats as well. Crime going down in certain areas. You can't influence the families like how you used to influence them because there's a man present.
Yeah.
He's seen all of these numbers. When you check back even on the history books, there was a Roman by the name of Pliny the Younger. And because of the awakening of the children of Israel, Pliny the Younger wrote and said, yo, listen, these guys are bad for business. That's historical. When I said earlier about Acts, the 18th chapter, Claudius expelled the Jews out of Rome because of the awakening and what Paul and them were doing. He said, yo, y'all need to go get out. Because people in Rome were now being converted. Romans were starting to get converted, and it was affecting them.
Yeah.
So they have all of this information and data see going on of the effect of what's going on. So okay, the black church is a money center. It finances the sympathy for a certain set of people that hate Christ. Right? Let's just put it that way, right? It finances that. So when these people coming out of the churches right now, then the finances go down. The doctrine that comes down from the Jesuit society that comes down to teach.
I have to show this. Hold up. I have to show this. 1 second, brother. 1 second. Your rock just sent this to me. I'm gonna put you on hold, brother.
I yield, Elder. I yield.
Oh, man. Check this out, brothers and sisters. Now, I'm not saying there's anything into this because Esau be dealing with some straight craft. He be dealing with straight witchcraft, Esau. I mean, I seen a few of them walking around on the plane, with the hat coat zones happening. I need y'all to check this out, folks. Let me get it here. Right here. Yeah, there it is. Check this out, folks. You're right. The Illuminati cards came out in... The Illuminati cards, brothers and sisters, came out in what? 1993? Look at this. Look at this here. 1 second. Desktop. Check this out, folks. I'm going to put it right here in broadcast. Look at this. In broadcast. I need y'all to look at this, folks. Broadcast. Now, I'm sure the brother Nate from IUIC don't care or don't know anything about this. Let me put that out there first. On the broadcast. We're broadcasters, right? Right here. And I think it's probably just a coincidence. But I need y'all to check this out. Right? Look at this. Right here. This is Illuminati card from 1993. Now, when you turn this card around, it's info bomb. This is a silhouette. Matter of fact, let me turn it around so y'all can see it. Let me turn it around so you all can see this. It's info bomb. You play this card at a certain time to change the tide or to provoke racial tension. On the card of 1993. Check this out. Let me pull it up here. Under photos. Let me see if I can do it under photos. Because I have to turn this around and read this Illuminati card. Let me see. Open with paint. I'll open it up with photos.
Yeah, photos on it, yeah. And then just rotate it.
Okay, let me rotate it.
There you go.
Right? Now, when you read, now look. I don't know if it's going to show it. When you look at the the card, it says info bomb. It's used to stoke racial tension in the Illuminati cards. This card was made in 1993. Who do that look like? Man, let me see. And guess who found this card? This card was found. Iraq was looking through the Illuminati cards because somebody sent them to us and say there's a lot of stuff of these Illuminati cards and how they play. Right? How the Illuminati plans certain events in the earth is in these cards. Weird. A picture looked like Donald Trump. One looks like, don't forget, these cards was made in 1993.
That's crazy. That's huh?
Look just like you. Let me pull it up. I hope this can work here. Let's see. Let me see. Window capture. Let me see. Photo. I don't know if it works. This works in OBS anymore. You see it? See it says photo apps, but you don't see it. And there's no way I can spin it. Let's see. Hold on. Huh? Let me see. Let me pull it up.
Let's see if you do from the broadcast folder.
He sent. He sent it to me. Oh yeah, I forgot. Hold up. Cancel that. Yeah, here it is right here. He sent one. Here it is. Save as. $1993, folks. You cannot make this up. These cards were made. Nate, where? Let me see. And two. Where is it?
I don't see it.
Oh, it's dropping now. Here it is. There it is.
Yeah, right there. Both of them there.
Right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at this, Elder. Here's the card. 1993, they did the Illuminati card. 1993, they did this Illuminati card. Yeah, it's airy. Right? Now, look what it says on the card, how they play the card. If I can read it out. Infobomb. Look what it says on the card. Infobomb. What'd that say? It says, play this card at any time to give plus 10 power or resistance in any computer group you control. In any computer group you control. If used with action, it must be played when and it counts only for the action if used for defense. The bonus until the end of the current turn is good for defense only and does not count towards God. Okay? An infobomb translates to information railway or highway. Infobomb translate to what? Information railway or highway. The web, the internet. And I'm sure he doesn't know anything about this card. But that show you some of the darkness when it comes to these so-called seers that are working with the synagogue of Satan. I'm going to tell you, these cats are top wizards. They are top wizards. And they say they can play the card for certain defense. For certain defense, oh, if I play the card, now I can say I'm being attacked. Anti-Semitism. You play the card when you want a defense. Crazy, ain't it? Hey, it's weird that card is in there. An infobomb is what? The communication through the information highway, computer. Hey, it's wild. We're truly in the Matrix. But listen, we're going off the rails here. It's good. I just wanted to put that out there. And because I forgot in the midst of this, I'm like, man, your rock had these Illuminati cards that the sister sent, and it had a picture eerily looking like the brother. He don't have anything to do with that. But I'm just saying it's an eerie coincidence that this card is in their deck.
Even like the facial expression.
Yes.
Even the you know the.
What was those sorcerers seeing?
Yeah. What?
But then it tell you how they play the card as a form of defense. By playing the card, it puts what? It puts you on your heels because now they can defend themselves and say what? That's right. You are attacking us. And it wards off the defense.
Like you said, cards, man. The Joker is wild.
The Joker's wild.
Yeah. The Joker's wild.
Yeah, let's get a few more calls and then we'll end it. 574 area code. And I'm sure it has nothing to do with them, but it was just airily. Yeah, it's we dealing with some top sources on the other side, folks. And who knows? I hope they don't got a card of me up in there. 574 area code. Shalom.
Shalom, Elder. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
So I'm doing well. I just wanted to bring out Luke 10, Matthew 5, and Revelation 13, if that's possible. I know we're short on time.
We short on time. Can you do that within 1 minute?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Luke 10 and 19 says, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. They're afraid of the authority that Christ has given us. Matthew 5:44. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. It's impossible for true believers in Christ to operate in the manner that they're suggesting. Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Hey, you can't get no clearer than that. What goes around comes around. Thank you, my brother. Great scriptures. Thank you. My brother.
Bless you, brother.
Hey, see, and that's what they are afraid of. You hear this brother here? He's not talking about hurting anyone or selling drugs to anyone or being a whoremonger. He's in those scriptures. See, this is what they feared. Right? It's good to hear that, brother. Brother's bringing that word. 804, Michael. Come on, Michael. We going down the line now.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. First and foremost, giving praise to the Most High.
Yes.
I just had a quick comment. Is one of my greatest phrases. I was just talking about it. Where it says, "Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks,"
yes.
Which we know that Christ said that. I didn't make that up. I say that because right now, I've been in spiritual, pilgrimage as far as in, spreading God's word. And I'm trying to start, my ministry, which is called House of Israel.
Hold. We don't do that. You ain't starting no ministry on the Gathering of Christ Church's program. Nah, there's a church you're speaking to. I mean, this is the type of guy who goes into McDonald's and say he got his own. He's about to make McDowell's in the bathroom.
That time of the night.
Are you kidding me?
That time of the night.
Are you kidding me?
That time of the night right now. That time of the night.
Brother, break down and be baptized. There's already a church rolling.
Oh, gosh.
Lord have mercy. Can you imagine him going to McDonald's? And, but he's Donald McDonald's. And I'm the black one. In there with his own special sauce. No, we don't do that here.
Yo, we gotta go to They got the golden arches. We got the golden arcs.
We got the golden arcs. Lord have mercy. He's about to start a church on the Gathering Christ Church's program. Hold up, can I join?
Oh my God.
Lord have mercy. Only our people. Anyway, let's go.
Oh boy, that time of the night, boy.
Lord, yeah, it's getting deep. 614 area code. Lord have mercy. No, you can't do that, brother.
Oh gosh.
614 area code. Man, I've seen everything, man. Listen, we shall overcome someday, man. 614 area code. Only Jake does something like that. 614 area code.
Where's the lawyer? Is he a lawyer? Where's the lawyer?
Hold on, El Lawyer, you with us? Hold on, let me see. Let me do it this way.
Oh my goodness.
Let me see. Hold on. Lord, in the morning time.
Yeah,
it's getting late.
It's getting late. It's getting late.
It is getting late. Let's see. Hold up. Let me see if Lawyer. Let's see. All right. Yeah, Lawyer. Did you hear that one? Is Lawyer with us? I know he with us, ain't he? Oh no. I don't know, man. I think we about to. I'm gonna take one more. I'm gonna take one or two more. Lord have mercy. He's about to pitch a whole church here.
At that time, boy. At that time.
He's about to pitch a whole church. Like, what do you think we doing here? Lord have mercy.
Oh gosh, man.
All right, let's see.
At that time of the night. It's that time. Come Israel. A couple more cards and more cards.
I wonder how I can sideways that academy.
Oh, gosh.
Lord have mercy. Let's see.
Oh, man.
Participants. Lawyer, you there? Says he's not on the call. I know lawyer's probably over there cracking up. But anyway, let's get to the next call. 706 area code. This guy pitching a whole church. What do you think? Just wasting our time? We here trying to bring the kingdom ourselves. Lord. 706 area code.
Shalom, Alan.
Shalom. Talk to us.
How y'all doing?
Hey, brother, we winding down. You got about 1 minute.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say quickly, with the Israelite awakening, how I came into it, the awakening as being Israelite.
Yeah.
I want to share it, right quick.
No, go ahead. Go for it.
First, I had a friend. Fortunately, he passed away in 2015, but in 2014, I would ask him questions. He was telling me he celebrated the Sabbath. So me, by being in a church, I went to church service on Sunday. So he was explaining to me that's not right, and he was telling me about the Sabbath or whatnot.
Okay.
But make a long story short, he was telling me about Jesus' name being erroneous. So I didn't quite get that, but fast forward a couple of years later, in the cold, my sister, she brought me to you guys, and I'm not gonna lie, Elder. I first heard when you was breaking things down, and I had to be honest with myself. I was like, man, I said, man, what is this? This is, I thought it was a cult, but as
you thought it was a cult,
the Most High opened. Yeah, I did. I didn't know what it was, but I'm gonna tell you something. And this is the straight up truth. As I began to listen to GOCC more and more, even though like I said, my sister had introduced me to you guys,
okay,
and I started looking at these videos during the 2020, and when you guys went down, you start talking about the paganism and the Jeremiah 10. I'm gonna tell you something. The Most High started little bit by little bit opening my eyes to you guys, and now I'm just thankful for the Most High for you working through you guys, because as you were saying earlier, you were bringing out the article about in 2020, the things that was that happened when everything shut down. And that's why I called in, because it made me realize, I was like, man, that's the time that I was being awakened, and the things that's happening to Kyrie Irving and Kanye West, I could see it. And you guys, the last couple of weeks, y'all been bringing it. And I just say this, I'm sticking with you guys,
Oh, praise the Most High. Praise the Most
because and I'm gonna tell you why, because he, even though I didn't understand it now, even though my friend, he's gone on, now I understand what he was saying. He was telling me I couldn't understand what he was saying. He's saying you were saying Jesus Christ, but he was saying that's not the true name. So when I start looking at you guys, that's how I said that's the Most High. awakening. It's an awakening, and
Praise the Most High.
That's why I say. That's why I say when you guys breaking down, you broke down the name and of the Most High, I am that I am, Ahaya.
I know, brother. I got to get to the next call, but what are you gonna do? Are you gonna come through now, or what you gonna do now with the knowledge?
Yes. I am. I just what I want to do. I just seriously, I just, you're right. I don't want to take up much of your time. I just want to make that point. But I was just wondering if you could call me offline. I had a question. I don't want to throw this off topic, but I had a question. But I want to know, could you call me in your in your spare time?
Okay, I can call you. Where you from? Your name? Your name is what? Who?
I'm brother Bert.
And where do you live, Bert? What city? State?
Oh, I'm in Aiken, South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay, and are you in the Hebrew and Bible Academy?
No, I haven't. I haven't been in there, but I'm. The things that I heard you guys been talking about. I'm definitely going to join.
Well, you got 24 hours. Go to historytimes.org because that's the beginning of getting the foundation, getting grounded in all the areas, and we meticulously went into all the areas where the Christian church lied to us, to wipe that away so that you can actually get the true foundation of Christ in the Bible. So this way you're not conflicted with your programming. So it's important you get in that academy so that you're rooted and so you can get all that mess we got through paganism out. There's a lot of information that we've taken. We've been up day and night studying, putting this information together so that we can easily roll it out and make it so that you could become a great teacher in the future also. So, but I'm going to give you a call on the outside of this. And I'm going to have South Carolina call you so you can get the brothers there. And let's get this thing rocking, okay?
Okay, yeah. Matter of fact, yeah. You know what? I am going to join now. I'm gonna as soon as I get off the phone, I'm gonna enroll.
Thank you, brother. Word is bond. I hope to see you Sunday.
Okay.
Shalom.
All right. Shalom.
Yeah. And another thing, we went to South Carolina, Elder Gadger. Went there and supported the brother there, Gabar Ricard there. And one guy stood up and he said, listen, how can we? He converted a whole church under the doctrine of the Gathering of Christ Church. Right there, he said it right there. He says, listen, this whole church, I'm the minister. I've been listening to y'all. He had 31 pastors listening in the academy. And he turned his whole church over to the doctrine of the church.
Praise the Most High.
See, I'm saying, but that is what they were afraid of. See, these churches are not going to be able to survive on their own after the mega churches have torn the community churches apart. The only way they're going to sustain now is with the truth and aligning themselves with what's rising in doctrine. Right? Yeah, man. Because either a lot of pastors understood if they don't convert and actually begin to teach their people the truth, they're going to lose them anyway. So why not shepherd the people you know already with the doctrine of Christ? And guess what? It takes a very humble man
to do that.
To actually do that. That means that this man has a spirit of Christ, no pride.
There's a church in Jamaica similar in Clarendon, man. Big up to the Clarendon church. They were a Christian organization that came over to the teachings of the Gathering of Christ Church. I baptized about 30 of them.
Look at that.
Yeah, man. So and the fervent under Deacon Dale oversees them right now. So
look at that.
Yeah, man. It's growing, and it's not the first church I've seen do that. There was another one that came over as well in the 2016.
Yeah,
pastor came in and just say, "Yo, listen."
And gotcha. That's not even including the pastors who are watching, who are quiet in the academy and not saying anything.
Like I said, for every one, there's 100 in there listening and not saying nothing.
Praise the Most High. All glory be to Christ. Yeshua.
And it's the truth. The truth will set you free. You have to be on another level wicked, right? to actually know something is true and refuse to tell the people.
Yeah.
If you see that it's the truth, there has to be another level of wickedness.
Yeah.
You understand me? If you know something is true, but you'd rather continue a lie because of pride or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
You understand me? And you know, not everyone go off too much in it, but I've seen you know the name of the Most High, where at one point in time there were groups that were calling on the Tetragrammaton.
The Tetragrammaton, Yahweh, yeah.
And then when
Yahuwah,
when the name of the Most High came out,
Jehovah,
they stopped doing it.
They stopped doing it.
But rather than calling the true name, they went back to Jesus.
They went back to Jesus.
Yo, I'm like, what?
That's pride.
You understand? So I mean,
yeah.
You know.
But hey, let's get to the next call. We're gonna just nail through about 2 of these, and then that'll be it for the night. And we'll pick this up. I'll do an extra broadcast with phone calls next week. We have a lot to do today. 416 area code. But man, it's been a pleasure with y'all brothers tonight, man. You know, we can go all the way until we get up and have to go. You know, right now, I have this newfound energy we're gonna take right into tomorrow.
That's
man.
what I was afraid of. Okay, when you do these broadcasts, that you just can't sleep.
Oh
you
yeah,
can't sleep.
It's that energy, right?
The energy.
Yeah, that's
so I know. You know, I'm gonna go deal with today without probably not sleep or nothing. You know.
Yeah, we're gonna get a little sleep, but you know what? The brother Dwayne, I know the spirit of the Most High, you know, is with him in the bosom, and I know he's encouraged to one day stand with us as saints again. And, you know, he was up all night also when the Peace of Him was going on, right?
Man. Brothers are warriors, man.
They loved it. They loved it.
Tell him, man. The brothers are warriors. But I call her from Canada, 416 that just dropped.
Okay, I'm sorry. He dropped. I'm sorry. I'm taking up y'all time. I'm sorry. We have 865 area code. 865. Okay. 708 area code. 708. Last call for this evening. 708. You're live.
All right, now let's go to that one.
Okay, that's pretty much it. Did I do 574 already?
I'm not sure.
574. Were you on earlier?
Shalom, Elder.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. 614 area code. I'll take one more. 614. Well, that concludes our broadcast for this evening. I have to go. I love you all. We made it here safe here in Britannica or England. And I'm here with my brothers, you know, and we're gonna stand strong tomorrow and say a final farewell to our brother Dwayne until we see him again, and embrace the family. And guess what? The church is going to do everything to make sure we put together a foundation where his daughter don't have to worry about anything. And we're going to put together a foundation to make sure she's straight. And we have an extra incentive for finishing, right? Mm-hmm. To see our brother again.
Definitely, man. Yeah. You know, I said this to the brothers and that, yo, I let the smoke just clear. Let me put him in the ground.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
And then after
Goodbye.
this, yo, I'll just go hard.
Yeah.
You with me? I'll just go hard. Like I said, like, you know, them I got tired, yo, for silver face.
Exactly.
Let's
finish.
Yeah, I just finish it. I just go hard. You understand? When I have nothing tethering us back with nothing, we just go and go hard. And we're going to go hard in truth for Christ, and we're going to go hard in the memory of our brother doing.
Yes, sir.
He would want it no other way. You understand, man? And it's like, you know, talking to Yahushua said, listen, you can just imagine doing saying, yo, listen, man, have a drink for me, man, and keep it going.
Yep.
Just have a drink for me and keep it going, man.
Keep it going.
Let me tell you, man, you know, it's a little wine and for the belly, man, I will just keep it moving, man. We have no other choice. We don't want this. We don't want this system. We don't want this kingdom. We don't want it.
Yeah.
You understand me? There's nothing here for us, man. This is just death and destruction and sorrow and sadness, man. We want the kingdom to come.
Yes. And you know what? Through the Spirit of Christ, we're going to bring it.
Yeah, man.
We're going to bring it. The Most High says the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. And guess what? Paul, when the luminaries, that's what the apostles and all of them were calling those who died in Christ and went over. Let me tell you, even Paul says we can't sorrow like others do. If we know that Christ came and he resurrected, know that man we love, that brother and sister that we love, even my mama who I love, if we believe the Christ we're teaching of, he's bringing them back with him. That means they'll get their change on earth before us. And we'll be changed. Those that remain will meet them in the air on the way back for judgment. Okay, so we always need to be mindful of our mission and what? And see the end of our faith, knowing that what? Death is a curse that will be done away with, and we'll all live in Christ right here as kings and priests on the earth. Do you believe? Well, that's why Paul says we can't sorrow like others, because others don't know what happens after this. Okay, others don't know that there's a chance to live again. Okay, so we're going to work until we see our brother, and I'm totally confident that he's going to stand taller at the end on his plot, stronger than when he left. And you know what? If it be the Most High's will, we'll be standing shoulder to shoulder. Shalom. May the Most High be with you all. We're going to say goodbye to our brother tomorrow. Y'all stay encouraged. Keep us in prayer until we back on the other side with you. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up, sin not, and keep in mind, the Most High is calling back Israel. Good night.
Shalom, Israel. Have a good night. And a blessed broadcast.
Shalom. Shalom. Shalom, Elder Lawyer.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. So we be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. The highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us. At gunpoint. Together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A high gatherer. Asher in Colombia. Reuben from Australia. Issachar, the Mexicans. A highest gathering Israel. Judah, the Negroes. Benjamin, the West Indians. Levi, the Haitians. A highest gathering Israel. Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Cubans, we from Puerto Rico.